Velina mai kako, welcome to Keep It Aloha, a podcast that keeps it aloha by being the trailblazers for Hawaiian rap. I'm your host Kamaka, and suddenly, I don't feel the urge to say anything funny or witty. So I'm just going to rush into this episode. But before we introduce our guest, I gotta remind you to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/kamakadias if you want to join our Patreon ohana and get exclusive early and behind the scenes access to this podcast. All funds go to helping us run this podcast and bring you the best quality content every week. Get ready for a long episode today. We have some amazing guests, and you're going to learn a lot about the history of Sudden Rush, growing up in Panaeva. There might even be some tears shed in this episode, but you won't know until you watch. So get ready for a really fun and long episode. I hope you enjoy. All right, let's introduce our guest. Support for this podcast comes from Texaco in Hawaii, which features 58 convenient locations across the state. Fueling up at Texaco is fast and easy when you use the Texaco mobile app to pay at the pump. The Texaco mobile app is a contactless way to pay for fuel so you can get in and out of the gas station quickly. Fuel your car and fuel yourself. Pick up your favorite local snacks and ice cold drinks at your neighborhood Texaco today. Texaco at Techron, driving performance. Our guest today is a member of a legendary hip-hop band from the Big Island of Hawai'i. This tattoo artist is a co-founder of the first Hawaiian rap group called Sudden Rush. From 1994 to 2018, they released 4 albums evolving from emulating the popular gangsta rap of the 1990s to perpetuating the importance of Hawaiian culture and commenting on local political issues. They have collaborated with some of the biggest names in Hawaii, such as Fiji, Cruz, Keli'i Reichel, Willie K, Hanaiali'i Gilliam, Jon Osorio, and many more. They have also performed at the Teen Choice Awards and won Best Recording by a Rap Artist / Vocalist at the Hawaii Music Awards. Our other guest today is a lifelong entrepreneur from the Big Island of Hawaii. He is the manager of Sudden Rush and godfather to our first guest's son. This fearless Hawaiian and father of 4 is also the first ever world juicing champion. Both of these guys are living legends and true perpetuators of Hawaiian culture and the ways of living. I am so stoked to talk stories with them today. Their names are Shane Veincent and Kwai-Chang Publico. Aloha, Shane, aka Dino, and Uncle Kwai. How you doing?
Aloha. I feel like Club Shay Shay. That was an introduction.
Yeah, really.
I don't know what Club Shay Shay is, but I remember Club Vi back in the days.
No.
I think we're
That's
at
a throwback.
an age now where I feel like the term legend is really just a polite way to say old fart.
I never knew you knew my secret meaning of that. Living legend though. Living legend. So that means you're not that old. If you're just a legend, that means, you kupuna status.
We for sure have a lot of lifetimes. We've lived a lot of lifetimes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think another perspective on legends is somebody who's done a lot of things and have a lot of experience. Because
yeah,
you think of like someone like Imua Garza. He's not that old, but that guy's a legend.
we're
Without
just
a
listening
doubt.
to
Yeah.
Definitely.
What was the name of the?
Tutu's hip.
What is that?
Tutu's hip.
You did not
Oh, he used to do like
I think he
falsetto covers. Pop songs.
he
Now
redid them.
playing
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
And doing it falsetto Hawaiian.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know
think you
who's
mentioned
singing
that.
on the tracks, but that production is
Yeah, mean
fire.
vocal arrangements is
We're
unbelievable.
gonna text him after.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
thing was mean. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a genius, that guy.
But I think like legend and all of that. Anake Luhiva.
Hmm.
I talked to her a few years ago, and I said, "Yeah, I really want to write a book. My lifetime goal is to be a full-time writer." And she said,
Oh.
"Boy, you don't have enough salt on your body. You need salt on your life in order to tell a story." And sure enough, here we are a bunch of years later, and we've gone through it all. And we get the experiences,
Mhm.
we have the ups and the downs, and hopefully we grew from it.
Mhm.
So now it's time to really tell the stories.
Yeah.
So we appreciate the platform.
Yeah, I'm happy to share this platform. I mean, this has been coming for a long time, and just to share our background, our Pilina
Yeah.
together. Like, I've known you my whole life,
Yeah.
since I was a baby. I went to school with
Yeah.
your kids. Well, I guess Treasure, your daughter.
Yeah.
She was one of my good friends growing up. We would after school we'd go to your house. We'd hang out until my parents had to pick me up. So yeah, you were definitely a part of my life. And even when I did the race to 50K, when I paid off my student loans, you was a big supporter. You helped me out with some So Juicy jobs.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate you and your ohana,
That was an
and our friendship.
amazing, it's been fun to watch all of you guys
Hmm.
grow up and that era, Treasure and Makamai and
Hmm.
you and your brother and Malie and all of you folks. So, we'll always be Ohana and
Hmm.
I think that we've instilled some really good things in you guys and you guys are showing that you guys still have that foundation and you guys are growing on it and building on it. So
Yeah.
super stoked for all what you're doing.
Thank you, thank you. I think the funniest thing to me, which I was talking to you on the phone the other day, is like how growing up, you don't really pay attention to these things, like um things that are going on in the community, bigger things. Like I didn't know who you were, like what you did. I just knew that's Uncle Kwai. That's Treasure's dad. He just does a bunch of business stuff, and then even Sudden Rush, like I didn't, they're just a band because like Ana Kala that was my classmate's
Right,
dad.
right, right.
Like it wasn't. There's like a little bit of a disconnect.
When do you think you made that connection? When was it? How you say
Probably in college.
in college?
Probably as I got older, like became an actual adult, and probably not even until like going away from Hawaii and then coming back and trying to reconnect with like everything here, because I was gone for 3 years and
Yeah.
like I was disconnected from a lot, and then coming back and just kind of learning about not history as in just like Hawaiian history, but like modern history.
You came home after Kiala
Yeah, I came
passed,
in
yeah. Oh,
2019. Yeah, and he passed away
yeah,
2018.
2018.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just like, especially with social media too, rediscovering certain people, following people, and like just talking with adults about, Sudden Rush and seeing what you're doing with So Juicy and all of that, and like learning about your history about, like, I didn't know you were the manager for Sudden Rush. I had no idea.
My kids don't know
Yeah.
too, I think sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the smaller kids.
So
They
it's
don't
just
even
it's
know.
just so interesting, you're as a kid, you just don't notice stuff. Like when you grow up with like a famous parent, sometimes
That's
you're
true.
just like, oh, that's just dad. That's just mom.
But when you're in
Yeah.
KTA, you're reminded though.
Yeah.
KTA is where everybody see each other, everybody
Yeah.
know each other.
Hey, you
Yeah,
the guy.
hey, yeah, you.
Yeah. But anyways, I wanna get to know both of your life stories because I'm sure there's a lot that I don't even know still to this day.
I'm sure.
So whatever you want to share on the podcast, Shane, just know this is gonna be viewed by a lot of people. So nothing incriminating, nothing about
We're gonna let them all go.
yeah. If you
Hey,
like.
Fire away.
Yeah, so I like to ask all of my guests, where you from, where you grad, and what was it like growing up?
I am from Hilo, on the Big Island. I graduated from Honolulu High School. It's a popular surf spot on the Hamakua coast, home of the GED. Yeah, I went to
I know people from that one.
I went to Waikia. Um, I was Kolohe. I got into um, a lot of trouble. School wasn't uh, my thing. I got into smoking pakalolo when I was in the ninth grade, and um, that took me down some different paths for sure. I did well testing in school, but I wasn't there enough for it to really make a difference with my grades. Yeah.
What did you do outside of that? Like, did you do any sports, any
I,
extracurricular activities, and except rolling
yeah,
the
I played
Bakalolo joint?
sports. I played sports up until high school.
Mm-hmm.
High school, you had to make the grade to play sports,
Oh,
and I
yeah,
was under 2.0, so that was pretty much the end of um, any potential sports
yeah,
career. Yeah, we stayed active. I spent a lot of time in the water and in Panaeva, pick up games, basketball, pretty much daily. Football, golf.
yeah.
Yeah.
Was music always a part of your life growing up, though?
I think from a very early age there was definitely interest there. As far as I can remember, as a little kid, I was a dancer
Mm.
first. Yeah,
Like,
so
what kind of dancer?
this dance
Like
back then was the
braid, hip.
splits and
Oh,
you know um I'm from the 70s, yeah, so
like popping and stuff.
before that.
Yeah. Oh,
So popping was popping, b-boying. That was the early 90s for me. I think 91 Summer Fun
Oh
was
wow.
where I first experienced popping. There was two older kids in the Summer Fun program who were into popping and breakdancing, and that's where it started for us. We used to go to school with cardboard, big pieces of cardboard or linoleum flooring, and go dance during recess and stuff. So
That's funny. I brought that up on Osna's podcast because like I grew up watching like America's Best Dance Crew and stuff. So I really loved breakdancing. So once in a while I'll get one cardboard and go outside in our yard and try to do like windmills and whatever I could, just watch YouTube videos. And then I never got good and I've never got any good. But Osna was saying that's you can't break dance the Hilo because it rained too much. The cardboard get all soggy.
Oh, so you got to do
yeah,
that indoors.
You gotta do it indoor. You can't do them Hilo because it
Yeah.
rained too much. So that's why we never became professional breakdancers because
yeah,
of
for
Hilo.
us, yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So how did like the rapping and the hip hop part start?
um, I think I early in intermediate. I think Run DMC, Fat Boys.
Hmm.
That's when I started writing. I think by the time we hit high school, um, yeah, it was pretty good. As far as us locals go, there weren't too many guys doing it back then. Um, but there was a bunch of guys who came from the states that went to Waikea. A bunch of popolos, good friends of mine actually.
Hmm.
Biz, Lava, Phil, yeah. Um, yeah, they came and um that was their thing. Yeah, and then I was kind of like the local guy who could do that too. So, hey,
Hmm.
go show them, when they would go do their thing. So we would cipher.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So what was battle rapping a thing back then?
Not really. I never really got into battle rap. Um in Hilo, that was a good way to get punched in the face. Yeah, saying the kind, talking crazy. Um yeah, I don't think we quite understood um the concept behind it. Yeah,
Uh-huh. It was
back home
just
we took
cipher
things more
sharing,
personally.
yeah,
Yeah,
sharing the
I mean I
bars.
love the kind, I love the culture. So tonic shots. Eric Yaukulani, a good friend of mine back home, he used to do a lot of hip hop events, and they would have battle rap competitions and stuff there. And yeah, for sure, it's a beautiful thing, but it's something that we evolved uh, to understand.
Hmm.
Yeah, in the beginning was all talk like
Yeah. So how did
that.
Sudden Rush form? What was the
um,
inception of that?
so Sudden Rush was uh a bunch of us from Paneva. Yeah, Ohana and friends from the neighborhood. So,
Bro, tell him my name.
huh?
Tell him my name.
Who are you?
Yeah, tell him my name.
Oh, wait. What was?
Do you want to tell us something?
I think I don't know. Hopefully,
What was your name?
my name was TLB, bro. The lover boy.
The lover boy. You were in were you in the music scene?
I did 4 bars on one track. I think
Slip,
so.
slip, slip goes my slipper.
No, that was after. What happened was, so Shane's Ohana, Kumalehua Vincent.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
I never made that
yeah. So
connection.
Kumalehua's dad, yeah, and
Uncle Mike.
yeah, and his dad is brothers, yeah. So
Mm,
um, their Ohana, the Veincents is from Kilka and Paneva, and so that's why they would spend a lot of time in the homestead. And then my mom's Ohana is Iona's,
mm-hmm,
and they
Mhm.
also lived in Kilka and Paneva, and so that's how Shane and I, our circles would intertwine because our parents would play cards. Our parents are friends, and so in the homestead, all the kids of that generation would all hang out, and we was the Kolohe bunch of growing up with moms and dads that had chips on their shoulders, and for sure was one tough bunch of Hawaiians at that time, and so we became all real close, and in the 80s and 90s.
You know how it is when your parents
Mm-hmm.
all hang together all the time. That
Yeah.
makes us
Yes,
cousins.
like the
Yeah,
Calabash cousins,
yeah,
Hanai, brothers, sisters.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's what
Mm-hmm.
we all were. So the Lealohas, the Veincents, the
Wise.
Ionas, the Po'ais, um, who else? The Lewises.
Mhm.
There's just a bunch of us.
Mm-hmm.
And so we all grew up in Paneva, and Shane and I was probably we I don't know, we just we kind of just clicked in the beginning, and we was Kolohe, but we wasn't as Kolohe as some of the real Kolohe guys, I think. And so we kind of him more than me, but participated in both the fun and the dangerous things. And yeah, we just stayed close, and so our friendship grew. And as he grew in his talent,
Mm-hmm.
I grew as a fan, watching them and watching him. And then um he formed the group with a bunch of Paneva guys. And then Caleb, who is the Red Eye Rebel, aka Pakalo, he came to one of the raging Hilo parties, and they ended up meeting each other, and then um, they clicked, and
Mm-hmm.
then they formed Sudden Rush as the two of them.
Caleb was actually in the crowd at
The
an
house party.
event that we performed at. Was Rex in Effects at the Civic, and Keala performed with the Kawili Boys, and we performed as Sudden Rush. Was me, Tein Lealoa, and Alfred. Um, Caleb was in the crowd that night. Yeah,
And he was
but
just
it made
inspired.
quite an impression
Mm.
on him as well. Um,
But he from Honolulu, right? So
yeah,
he was from
yeah.
Honolulu, and he had moved to
He got
Hilo.
into some trouble up here, and then ended up in Hilo, where he could get in trouble over
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I'm gonna move to Hilo so I don't get in trouble.
You
Gets
know,
in trouble.
what year you born?
93.
93 in Hilo was
Yeah.
unbelievably crazy, fun, dangerous, and it was just I mean, the 90s in, I think, a lot of small areas, right? Me, even the big cities, but even if over here, like in Waimanalo or Waianae, and in Hilo, in Keaukaha, in Paneva, it was so good fun. But everybody's trying to prove themselves.
Mm.
Everybody's trying to prove themselves, and social media still kept wasn't there yet, right? So a lot of the areas was territorial, more territorial than it is now. And so everybody was out to prove themselves, and everybody was trying to make a name. And but it was so fun. I
Hmm.
cannot even stress. I think at that time, though, growing up, we thought it was hard, and it was hard. We poor, we don't have much. But I think, like, the outdoor life and being out and about and social was where we found our families, our
Mm-hmm.
extended families. And
Yeah.
for better or for worse, we talk about it all the time that we love the fact that we grew up in Paneva. It made us strong and fearless, but it also made us um, very, very traumatized, I think, and
Mm-hmm.
stuff that we don't really talk about too much as local boys or local kids. And so it's funny that we still jamming, 30 years later, and 35, 40 years later, that we still friends. We don't hang out as much. We
Part
definitely
of what makes the relationship
Yep.
work.
Yeah. That's funny. I
we
saw
we love hate each
I
other.
saw but I think it's a guy and girl thing too. I saw this meme recently where it's like girl doesn't talk to her friend in
Yeah,
like 3 days. It's like Texas, are we still okay?
yeah, yeah.
And then guys don't see each other for 6 months. They come together. They're like, yeah, best friend.
But I hate texting him because I'm not sure what mood he in, and he can be hot cold, right? And so sometimes when he come off, and I can tell when he's like, he's he get what ADHD you get, huh? He get ADHD, and he get bored fast, right? He
Mm,
get bored fast, and then when he's ready to do something and he's ready to talk, you gotta give him all your attention.
mm.
If you don't give him all your attention, you don't respond right away, he's a big F you, right? He's like, this guy, and right, he'll have his feelings, right? And so I know when it is, but I tell him all the time, like I said, Shane, I love you. You kick my ass. I'm not scared of you, but I'm gonna tell you straight. Like I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm gonna tell you. And he does the
S-
same with me.
That's a good
Right?
friendship right there.
Definitely one of the
Yeah.
things that I value about our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
The people that I um have kept closest in my life have been those who I could count on to hurt my feelings. Yeah.
Yeah.
To deliver whatever news,
Yeah.
yeah, or whatever it is that needed to be said, to be able to say it, um, knowing that you was going to piss me off or hurt my feelings, yeah, to be able to still say what needed to be said. I think there's a great deal of respect to be had for people who can
Mm.
be honest with you like that. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
So before we go any further, I want to get to know your life story from Kinohi, from the start. Where you from? Where you grad? And what was it like growing up? And then we'll go into like the era of sudden rush.
We get same diploma, but so I grew up in. I love the fact that my dad was from the Hamakua side of the island,
Mhm.
and my mom was from Puna, Keaukaha, and then Paneva. So I had the homestead and the country.
Mhm.
I love that. I didn't understand it growing up, but I grew up in Pepe'ekeo and in Paneva. Um, and then I went I went to Waiakea, I went to Kalanianaole, I went to Kamehameha Kapalama, and then I ended up back at
Oh,
Waiakea.
I didn't know that. I didn't know
Yeah,
you went to
actually, yeah.
Kapalama.
And I love Kamehameha. I hated Honolulu.
Mm.
We were living Kalihi Valley housing. Like we were living all over, but in the end, before I moved back, we were living Kalihi Valley housing, all the way at the top, the second to the last build room or house, and we had to climb up that stairs every day. And coming from Panaeva, I got into so much fights up here and stuff. So, but then I moved back, and it was a shock to me because what happened was my mom and dad split up, and because I was accepted to Kamehameha Kapalama, my mom decided to move um, me and my siblings up to Honolulu, and I became a day student, which I would have
Mm.
rather have bordered, but I was a day student. And so I came up here. It was a culture shock. I looked, I would sit at Kalihi Valley Housing. I would sit at the top, and I was like, holy macaroni! This place doesn't sleep. It's like constant, constant. Then I nagged and whined, and I wanted to come back home. And so my mom finally said, "Okay, you can go back home." And I left my mom and my siblings to go home to my dad, who was living with his parents, and they pure Filipino, and was on super culture shock for me going home.
Mm.
So I was stuck in this kind of this matrix where I didn't know where I belong. I wasn't sure what I was doing. And I went from one really good student to um, one really unorganized and traumatized kid. I was high school, 8th grade going into high school. And so I went back to Paneva eventually to live with my uncle. And from there, I met Shane.
Mm-hmm.
or we started hanging out more, and yeah, I ended up not graduating high school. I got expelled from the highest English class you could get at Waikea High School. I was a half credit short. It
Oh.
was a lesson that was really rough for me. My mom didn't talk to me for a year. My dad was disappointed, and my family was disappointed. The neighborhood was disappointed. And from there, getting into the music and hanging out with the Panaeverians, I ended up doing one concert, or we organized a concert together, like a backyard party. And from there, I just been throwing events and did the entrepreneur thing, and ended up working with Shane folks as the manager. And how that all happened was their manager at the time, shout out to Malo Man, he for some reason, from the first CD to the second CD, from Nation on the Rise to Ku'e, they decided to do Ku'e on their own. And it was at that time that Shane folks had a gig in Maui. This is my story that I remember, that
Then
Uncle
we'll hear.
Uncle Boy Kana'e called them over for play at the county fair in Maui. And I was the only one at the time that had one credit card with on $300 or $500 limit. And he said, "Hey, like come Maui with us." And I said, "Okay." He said, "Can you use your card for the van?" I said, "Okay." can put your car down for the rooms. Don't worry, no gotta pay for them. We just need for the kind incidentals. I said, I
How
don't know
how
that.
old were you guys around this? Just to have an idea. Like what was the age?
This was, I
95,
think I
90.
was 20, mid 20s.
This is
Yeah.
after high school already,
Okay.
Yeah.
or yeah, the GEDs. This is
Mid
after
20s.
the
And
GED.
you're little.
I'm 1 year,
2 years.
2 years,
What, you 75?
75.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years younger.
Okay.
And so we went to Maui, and then from there, it was like, hey, I think you should be our manager. I said, what? I don't know nothing about, that, and kind of just jumped right in. And what happened after that, and where my life is right now, is because, um, as the manager person for Sudden Rush, we were forced to create our own merch, create our own events, and so we were cold calling Keli'i Reichel and Uncle Willie and Amy and John, and
Never knew them before.
never knew them before. And it was, in days of pagers and big cell phones and stuff and landlines, and you would have to call somebody to call somebody to call somebody and get the number. And I was just a fan, and I believed in the message, and I was kind of a no scare 'em, go get 'em kind of person,
Fearless Hawaiian, as they say.
and I just started, and that whole thing for this one too started because of
Mm.
me and Shane Judas. I don't know what it was. It's supposed to be when
The Muay Thai.
the Muay Thai portrait of me, something I don't know, and we called it Fearless Hawaiian.
Yeah.
But
I remember having the shirt.
yeah, so that Shane drew that,
Okay, awesome.
and we just did what needed to be done, and
There was for sure no blueprint for
no
what
blueprint.
we
Figuring it out
set
as you
out
go,
to
yeah.
do.
Figuring it
Yeah.
out.
That's how entrepreneurship is.
Yeah.
Basically falling down and trying to find ways to keep
Yeah.
flying.
Build a parachute
Yeah,
on the way
exactly.
down.
Yeah, and that's just what it's been in the music, and it's still what it is. And you get so beaten up, and it's hard to muster up the mana to do it every day, day after day. And
Especially when you have no one telling you what to do.
nope,
It's like
that's
get to work.
self-discipline.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
self-discipline,
Wake
yeah.
up, go
Yep.
do this, call this person,
Yep.
schedule these events. It's only you.
That's why he became the manager. This
Yeah.
guy, he's always been different, I think, from the rest of us in a lot of ways. I think listening to him talk about what it was like in Panaeva, yeah, it reminds me of that saying, show me your five closest friends, yeah, and I'll show you your future. And I think was easy to have nothing, yeah, not even goals or aspirations, in a lot of cases. So being in that environment, yeah. But this guy, yeah, he was driven different. He was always trying to do something, yeah. The way I remember him becoming our manager was he had a lot of good ideas. He was putting in the footwork, yeah, setting different things into motion. And he and I would have conversations about it, and I would tell him, shit, you don't gotta tell me. I already believed in him. I already think saw the potential in what he might be able to bring to the table. But I told him, you gotta show the other guys,
Mhm.
yeah, what you're capable of. So no, just talk to me about your ideas. Go do something. And he did, and he kept doing it.
Yeah. Did you have a bunch of doubters coming out?
I don't know
From
if
the
I did. I
start?
never care.
Mm.
I never really if you ask him, like, in the group of friends that we had, as as not being the biggest guy, I definitely did not get peer pressured. Whatever bad I did them on my own.
Mm.
Whatever good I did, I tried to do it for everybody. But I was never really one to give into peer pressure, and nobody could really tell me what to do either. So it was just like you said, we just trying to figure it out. We're just all having fun, not knowing any structure. We got to do this. Okay, let's try and figure this out. And I think that's the key to being an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
for sure. But I do tell everybody that You know, when you swing the bat as much times as I swung the bat, you're not gonna hit home runs every single time. And so unfortunately the strikeouts sometimes dwell deeper in your na'au than you actually show, right? Those 10 times you didn't strike out outshadow the millions of home runs you've hit.
Mhm.
And so that's hard. That's a hard thing. And I think that's what all led to where I'm in my journey right now. But um as far as the So Juicy thing and all of that, but um the whole 90s time, Ku'e, getting to know you, your Makuas, Keala and Punana Leo, and how we formed that Pilina and where we at right now. It was just, what is the Hawaiian term? It was a natural thing, yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure what that word I'm looking for, but
Yeah,
it
I
was,
wouldn't know what to
yeah,
say. It was kupono.
it's
It
Kupono
was
for
pono.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And that's when the Lewises, right? The Kite folks. She
Yeah,
was the
yeah.
Kahu and Lemomi Chan and
Yeah, all these names, yeah.
Kumupiki, right? And Ekekela, all of them, right? So we were all in that same point in our lives, you know. Treasure and Dustin's mom and I, we were young and didn't know what we was doing, and but we still together till today,
Mhm.
you know. And I really, really appreciate the fact that I had one woman that stayed with me for all this time and loved me for me and allowed me to be a dad and a father. And so, you know, I'm excited for the next bunch of years, but I'm
Mhm.
definitely tired. I'm definitely tired.
Yeah, you
Holy
put in a
moly,
lot of work over
putting a lot of
the
work.
last couple of years.
Yeah.
What was your decision to put everybody in the Kula Kayapuni?
Um, I think at that time, yeah, that's a I believe, the 90s is a blur. So a lot of all of this, in order for the stories to come out, we gotta kind of dig into it and really think about it. But I believe we met Keala before we went, or we were already working with Sudden. I was already working with Sudden Rush, and he was the Kumu, right
Oh,
at
okay.
Punaleo. And so, um, I I believe that that's what it was, that we were working together at Sudden Rush, and then decided to put Kaiu or Treasure
Mhm.
into immersion. And so, out of our four Kiki, the three younger ones went to immersion.
Mhm.
Um, the oldest didn't, and um, we wish we did, but that's just how it ended up.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So it was so cool to for me growing up in that time, the 90s, and that was like the second decade of the Hawaiian immersion
yes,
movement.
yeah,
But because of the first 10 years, these next years, we had a better foundation,
yeah.
and it was really like it started to peak around that time. Or not even peak, but just like we had really good momentum. And like I again, not knowing these people in your life, like didn't know a lot of my kumus were some of the people that saved the Hawaiian language.
Yeah.
They were the kids of the people that they were the kids that started the Hawaiian immersion preschool that went all the way
Hulilao.
up. Hulilau kum.
Yeah.
He taught me this. I don't know if we can
Yeah,
see
you
this.
can still do
I
that.
don't know if people can see this on the screen. Oh, hold on. Oh, I'm right there. I don't know if you guys can see this.
Yeah.
If you want to see that, he taught me that in preschool,
But look
and
at
I
Kumu
remember that.
Kamana. She's still going.
Kumkamna is
And
going.
Kumupila, right?
Your son taught me how to do that. So this, if you guys are watching this,
Yeah, and that is that Renaissance was an exciting time.
mhm,
Look at all the huli that was planted. Look at all the stuff that is going on right now.
mhm,
It was because of those visionaries
yeah,
and then they laying down foundation. And so I think even right now, as we get into our 50s, I am really content to believe that all I do is lay bricks, right? I lay a foundation for my Kiki and my Kiki's Kiki to stand on, as my parents did as best as they could. I think the difference right now is I really dig into the trauma of my life and I try my best to heal from it and not repeat it, and I try my best to communicate, comprehend, talk it out, and move past it. Like if we have an argument, I and we have we have lots of arguments.
That's how brothers are.
And so, but I think that I approach it in a way that um I look at him, and if I argue, I don't look at him and say, "Well, f you, I don't want to be here." I say, "F you, but let's figure it out." Right? Like let's figure it out. Because we both want to accomplish the same thing,
Mhm,
right? You just want to go in a different car, and I want to go in a canoe. You like go in one Tesla,
mhm.
or you like going on Harley, right?
Yeah.
And so, how do we figure out how to get there? Maybe you still gonna take your bike. Maybe I'm gonna take the VA, but we're gonna get there. And so, if we can do that at this age to help now, break those cycles and dig into those feelings, um, I think we can change the narrative even more and pass the torch.
I love how you put that, we in a way you're saying like we all want to go to the same destination. Like we both want the same thing, but we just have different ways of getting there.
Right,
Just like everything in life. Like
right.
Emma and I is a
Emma,
great
right? Yeah,
example.
great example.
We
Yeah,
both love Hawaii.
yeah,
We both love our people. We
yeah.
both love the culture. She has her way of doing it. I have my way of doing it. She wants to go in the double hull canoe. I
Yeah,
don't mind just driving a car to
right,
get there.
right,
But we both want to get to that destination.
right. And so I think if we look at the division of our culture, if we would all stop and say, okay, what do we agree on? Let's just look at what we agree on. Maybe you believe that what's happening in Molokai is different from what happened in Kalapana. Maybe you believe in what happening in Lahaina should be um, should be addressed the same way of what's happening on Mauna Kea. Um, just look at all the things. Sit in one room with whoever can be in that room. Um, and we talk about Kanaka leaders and stuff. Sit in the room and put on one side all the things of that we agree on, and just focus on that.
Hmm.
Let everything else just fade away and just keep focusing on the things that we agree on. And I think that if we approach our sudden rush life like that, if we approach our I wish I brought them, but in the 90s I wrote this paper. It was called the 10 Laws of the Rush.
Hmm.
And it was that rule number one, or law number one, was no one of us is greater than the mission of what Sudden Rush is. And Sudden Rush was just one voice. It was taking hip hop music, which was popular in the world, or growing popular in the world, but in one Hawaiian from an Hawaiian perspective, right? So um I kept telling them, I said, Shane, I don't care how talented, I don't care how handsome, I don't care how beautiful you are. The music you make with the boys is gonna be greater than your life, your individual life. And losing Keala, it's forcing us to figure out how to make sure that that still remains, that the music continues, even though the person who invented Hawaiian rap music is no longer with us. And we're talking about the app that he on
Yeah.
on this app in the
Right
airplane.
when they're coming in, we're just setting up. I just hear a little
Ding.
ding. I'm like, hey, is that Duolingo? Because I do every day. I started with Japanese and doing Spanish because I'm just to freshen up on my Spanish. I got a 200 something day streak going. Proud of that. Um, but yeah, we're talking how great it is that we have this thing. I mean, what 3 5 minutes a day
I don't know.
minimum?
Tell him
Like easy.
how much days straight you get,
Yeah,
man.
how much you get?
I try to do 15 minutes a day. I
That's
do
ambitious.
do I think more than that on a lot of days.
Have to artists as
But
well.
I
Hmm.
try to start my days with Duolingo. Make sure I keep that streak going.
What is your streak?
I'm only 20 something days right now, but
But you've been doing it.
it's the first time I've gotten this far without using the streak freezes. You know, so
Nice. It
um,
takes discipline. Even showing up for 5 minutes a day is harder than we think, With so many distractions in life and so many other things that we
absolutely.
want to do. It's
Especially I
sometimes
think
it's
on the
hard.
weekends. On the weekends,
Yeah.
it's particularly hard.
Yeah. You gotta have your
Um,
notifications on, like, to remind you.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Everybody in your guys' house though, all Olelo, yeah.
Everybody,
In
yeah.
fact, I think
Yeah.
that made a difference was putting on the notifications. I don't like
Yeah.
notifications on my phone. When I'm ready, I'll go look and take a look. But um yeah, turning on the notifications definitely made a difference. I get those
Yeah,
reminders.
yeah.
I'm sure you see them on
Yeah,
I mean, it's probably
exactly.
been a while. You're
Yeah, don't
200
lose your
something days.
streak.
Yeah,
Join
yeah.
us.
But that's
Mhm,
been, yeah. Like I said, after Keala passed, I've always felt compelled, interested in learning a Hawaiian language. But um, yeah, the only way that I knew um, there was a means for me to learn was to go back to school. I actually in 20 what was it 2019 2020 2022 actually
Register.
yeah, I went back to school. And
awesome.
the week that I started school was the week of Kaloi Fest, this event that I used to do for my dad. And I was so caught up with everything that I needed to do going into the weekend that I was falling behind already. First week,
Hmm.
falling behind on my classes, and I ended up dropping the classes and not completing the kain. But the desire, the
The
need,
ini.
yeah,
That's what
to
we say.
to learn,
Hmm.
to continue learning was still there. So I heard about Duolingo. um when I first started, it was pretty limited, what the lessons were, and I went some time without it, and then at some point I went back, and there was so much more, and the way that they did the lessons was different.
Hmm.
um it made it a lot easier to stay engaged, and I think I'm finally at a point now where I'm starting to understand, starting to be able to string form
Hmm.
sentences. Yeah, communicate a
That's
little bit. I
awesome. Like
was
Iloa.
showing him in the plane. I actually just started writing my first rap verse. Yeah, Olelo Hawaii verse. I'm only 4 bars into it, but I'm so stoked with what I have. Um, yeah, and I do hope that the kind when I set out to learn it, I'd like to write, yeah, some
Hmm.
music. Not necessarily rap music, but I would like to write some Hawaiian music,
Hmm.
before I pass. God willing, I got the time, you
Yeah,
know.
I think that shows a great comprehension of the language too when you're able to write and form like not just sentences but poems, poetry. When you're able to rhyme in another language, that shows a really good
I don't know, but
comprehension.
we gotta mark down this day because this takes our relationship to a different level. The fact that he's stoked ear to ear showing me his 4 bars in Olelo, Hawaii. I
He matched your bars for right there.
that for was, but how you feel, Kamaka, about Kanaka and locals or anybody that can Olelo Hawaii, and do you feel like they sometimes look down on other natives that cannot speak? And for those that cannot speak, how do you? Because like right now, okay, so of the three keiki that I have, two pukakula, right?
Hmm.
Anakena and I still don't olel Hawaii. We still walking with our
Hmm.
lahi, right? We still going to an halavai, and we still go into the keena, and we gotta grab our lahi. So for us, it kind of defeats, or it defeats us a little bit, yeah, walking
Hmm.
in after all these years. But I tell Anake every time that by no means is anybody ever gonna tell me they're more Hawaiian than I am, right?
Hmm.
Because of whatever they know more or they can speak fluently and stuff like that. Because um really there's levels to your involvement and your levels to your comprehension and ike that right? But that confidence in who you are and what you believe shouldn't matter with how much you can speak. Although I do feel like if I could speak, it would be so much greater of a expansion, I guess, of what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Well, so I think there's a lot of ways to answer this, and for me, there's a lot of reasons. Um, so I don't think everybody needs to feel obligated to learn. I think basic things, it's nice to know a few words. It's nice to know um, the mindset of Hawaiian thinking and Hawaiian thinking like a Hawaiian, stuff like that. I believe like the ways that you live is far more important than just being Hawaiian, like having the blood or just like having languages. Because I have the language, but doesn't mean that I do more Hawaiian things than other
Right.
people,
Right.
And I acknowledge that. Like I see people who aren't even Hawaiian that to me in my eyes, if there was like a qualification of what makes a good Hawaiian, they're checking off way more boxes than I am. And just because I have the Olelo, that kind of gives me my little trump card, right? That
Mm,
what keeps me secure in my Hawaiian identity.
that
Um,
makes sense.
Along with some of the other things I do, because like I was never into hula, I was never into singing, oli, stuff like that. So that Hawaiian identity for me was always like not lost, but it just that wasn't part of my own identity as who I am as a person, you know.
I get it because I learned more Hawaiian things from my pure Filipino dad than maybe not more, but I guess
Cultural practices. Yeah.
cultural practices from my dad,
Yeah.
and he was pure Filipino. But I think this last Pukakula with my daughter, Violu, graduating, this last the week long ceremony for Navihi, I really by the time we got to the rehearsal on Thursday night, I think we had done the walk, we had done the wait, you ended up graduating, I
No,
think.
I moved to
You moved.
Kaiser.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
You moved to Kaiser.
I was one of those students that I
Oh,
was
so
and
you never
I
get
was
the week.
complaining. I was like, I know, like
Oh,
go Navajo anymore. I want to go to a regular school. I want to play sports.
oh,
We had
that's
to meet with
right.
Kumukamana. We had to
Right,
meet with all the teachers and
right,
all that. It's not like regular school where you just
right,
leave. It's like
right.
you have to have these meetings. You have to explain why, like,
Yeah, you
because
gotta
you're
come.
there your whole. It's like
Right.
leaving a family.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like
The
breaking up with a significant
Yeah,
other.
it's very deep, and
Yeah,
so not many people know, but when you graduate from, or when you graduate from Navahi, it's actually um not just a week long celebration, but it actually starts way before, even
from high school,
high
making the
from
lei hulu,
yeah, from the Lehulu, and then a lot of the fundraising and stuff like that is done from
ulama
then. Yeah,
mauliola. Yeah.
and you continuously move towards that 1 week, right? But during the 1 week, by the time we got to Thursday, I had to at the rehearsal, I had to get up, and I said in front of our makuas, because this class is the biggest class ever from Navahi. So I think we had 41 Haumana that graduated, and we were all there from Punanaleo. A lot of us, majority of that 41 was there from Punanaleo. We were all um, young makuas growing up. And so I told them that I really appreciate the way immersion, how we won ohana, but the intentions behind so many things, like why we do the walk, why we do the lehulu, why
Hmm.
we do this, why we do that. And so I think, going back to the whole discussion of speaking and being more Hawaiian or less Hawaiian, I think once you can feel that in your na'au, that intentions and why and what, I think that changes the game. I think that
Hmm.
um you become touched by that feeling, and that's what you should hold on to, whether you can speak or you cannot speak.
Yeah.
It is very, very beautiful to see the intentions. It's amazing. I'll show you some pictures later
Mhm.
of the mokuola swim and what it was that morning, and having 40 haumana, 41 haumana. It was
Yeah, well, I
amazing.
remember because Micah, my older
Yeah,
brother,
right,
he did
Micah
that.
did,
So
right.
and when you
That
do that week-long ceremony, it's not just you and your classmates; it's your whole
no.
family, your siblings, your parents.
Yeah,
They all participate.
yeah.
So oh, again, chicken skin is thinking about it, and there's all these cool events that happen, and
Yes.
it ends with the big celebration.
I think the general public just doesn't realize that,
Mm.
and
It's
and I
very deep,
it's
very
very
deep.
deep, and
Yeah.
I encourage anybody listening, anybody watching, that if they can get into an immersion school, wherever, whatever part of the Payaina they live,
Hmm.
I encourage that 100%. It'll change your life, because we were talking about it coming up, that um uh what's his name, Denzel Washington. There's a video of him talking about cultural versus color. right?
Mm.
It doesn't matter if you're black or white, but to tell the story of your people, it doesn't make sense for a white director to tell the story of a black family,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's important that a Hawaiian family tells the story about Hawaiian people. And so
Absolutely.
I encourage everybody to get into immersion as much as they can.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel super blessed. All my siblings went to Hawaiian
Yeah.
immersion school, so we all speak Hawaiian. Even after my parents were
Right.
divorced, they still made it
And
a
they
point.
speak too, right? Dad
And
speak.
yeah, my
Mom.
mom worked at Halukua
Right.
Mo'o at Keiki Kawaiʻi
Yeah.
growing up, and then my dad learned after high school, and then they decided to do it. And so my stepmom and stepdad, they don't really speak, but they understand
Right.
a good amount just
Right.
because being around it. And then so what I want to say on like the learning stuff, I understand when you get older. So the whole like I don't got time. I don't. It all comes down to priority. You know, as I
Right.
get older, I realize we all have time. We all have time for something. It's just how much time do you want to prioritize for something. But when you're older, you have different priorities.
Right.
Like your priority isn't to learn a little Hawaii. It's to make money, raise your family, be a good partner, be a good father, like run your businesses. Those are priorities over like learning Olelo Hawaii. So I understand it's so hard to do it when you're an adult. You have so many distractions. For me, that's my first language. It's
Right.
like speaking English. You know, I never really learned it. I just spoke it. So
Right.
I've learned other languages, but how I learned those other languages was studying abroad,
Immersion.
going to classes, immersion.
How
If
many
if you're
languages do you speak?
Malagasy, I learned Spanish and then Hawaiian and like learning Japanese.
Wow.
So I love languages, and that's just something I'm interested in. But for people who feel the pressure to learn a language, not even just a little Hawaii, like if you're not immersed in it, it is so hard. It is so hard to
Well,
become fluent.
though I would like to shout out to Kumuha'a and Kumuaipia
All
and
those
all the
schools,
Kumus.
yeah.
We have 5 more years before Manoli graduates. So keep our Ohana accountable for learning before he graduates.
Yeah.
Because we have to get on it, Anake and I, that we would be able to show up to that
Mhm.
pukakula and be able to understand every part of the ceremony. So
Yeah.
so
But
Arakumu,
for
please.
me specifically, my goal is never to be fluent. I don't think that's the goal, is to learn, be fluent in a language. And I talked with Kalihua Krug when he was on
Yeah.
the podcast. He said the goal isn't to learn Hawaiian. The goal isn't to be a fluent speaker. It's to go on
Yeah.
the journey of learning it. Like you don't go to the forest to become a tree, right? You go there and you learn all these things about yourself, about the forest, about life while you're going through that journey.
That's the same as
And
Waiva'a.
Hoiva,
Yeah.
exactly. And you can relate that to a lot of the things in our life. And for Hawaiian, like it comes down to what's your intention. I get people ask like, "Oh, is it okay if I learn Hawaiian if I'm not Hawaiian?" I said, "What's your intention? Is your intention to be like I speak Hawaiian so I look cool in front of other
Right.
people so
Right.
I can put on my Instagram bio I speak Hawaiian?" Like,
Right.
is that the intention?
Right.
Or is it to communicate? Is
Right.
it to grow a deeper understanding of the culture and our language, yourself and others? So if your intention is just to just have it on your resume, then I don't know.
My intention is to hold a conversation with Kumuhiapo.
Yeah, that's scary. I don't even want to do a conversation with Kumiapo.
That's my intention.
That's scary. Kumiapo is like the scariest, the smartest
Yeah.
man, but just very intimidating because he's so akamai.
But that's weird because you guys have that feeling towards him, or a lot of the Hamana and stuff have, but then we know him as
Exactly.
right, and
Yeah.
we all on the same era and
Hmm.
same age, so it's strange to think, but really that's who he is, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Being who he is,
Great,
right?
great
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, and I guess to summarize this Olelo Hawaii thing, I I don't think you need to Olelo Hawaii to be considered Hawaiian. You know,
Mm.
if you're Hawaiian by blood. There's many different categories. Like maybe we need some actual document to explain like what everybody is, because everybody's always asking these questions and everybody's confused about their identity. Between like Hawaiian by blood, Kanaka Maoli, all these things. Um, for somebody who speaks another language, like I speak Malagasy. I'm not Malagasy, but I love it and I understand their culture, and like I use it as a tool to live.
Connect.
It's a
Yeah.
language is a tool.
Yeah.
That's what it is, you know. It's it can be part of your identity, but at the end of the day, at the very basic, it's a tool to communicate. So when you're able to communicate your wants, desires, needs, that's what language is for, you know?
That's what it is.
So
Duolingo.
yeah, Duolingo. So even I tell people, even if you could just learn a few words, you know, I watch anime
Yeah.
and that's why I do the
Japanese.
Japanese, and just hearing like, oh, yasashi, I'm like, hey, I know that word. Mizu, I'm like, hey, I know that word. Like just hearing those things, it makes you excited, right?
Then you see the the pilina between people, right?
Yeah,
It's not we're not as divided as we really think. You know,
yeah.
there's things that we don't agree on or we do differently, right? But like right now, walk in, you didn't have your shoes, and like, oh, okay, wait, and I would normally take off mine too, but you said, no need, and but those are all things that maybe divide some people, but in actuality, I can respect how you feel, and if you respect how I feel, then we're gonna come in and chop it up
Yeah,
regardless.
totally.
So
Yeah. So, yeah, don't learn Hawaiian to feel more Hawaiian. Learn it because you have an intention to connect,
to sing.
to communicate, to sing. Like what is your goal? Think about what's the goal of it, you know? So,
I think for me, the goal is to better understand our legacy, maybe, yeah? Better
yeah.
understand um Keala's legacy, despite the fact that I've been a part of it. There's so much that he wrote that I have no idea what the hell he's talking about. Um, Recently we had last year, Kule. Um, we were doing some shows in Maui,
Mhm.
and she was explaining what he's talking about in Hi'ilave.
Mhm.
And I didn't realize it, but Keala talks a lot about his passing in our music.
Oh.
So that was actually a tough one. We were up at EO in Maui, and she was breaking down line by line what he's talking about in that song, and I had to walk away. I needed some time um, for myself. Yeah. Um, but yeah, shit, for sure, the kind um, understanding more in depth. Yeah.
Mhm.
What? Because I'm learning. For me, um, the path that we took wasn't um what I foresaw when we first started. Um, we were watching MTV, and I was desiring a life um far away from where we grew up.
Mhm.
Yeah, far away from the life that we settled into and the path that we took. But I am um thankful
Mhm.
for sure that we did go in the direction that we went in. I'm thankful for um the influence that he had in our lives. Keala was, I've met a lot of good people in my life, but Keala comes from a really good, God fearing family. Um, and yeah, he was definitely one of the good ones. A
Mhm.
great deal of respect for him, for his ohana. Um, he definitely stayed true. Like this guy, you cannot couldn't peer pressure him
Mhm.
into doing, crazy kind things. Um, Keala was deeply rooted
Mhm.
in who he is. Yeah, in who his ohana is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He's so
So
witty. He
yeah,
was
I
for
mean,
so
sure,
just
for
witty.
listening
sure.
to his lyrics, you
His
know?
jokes
Yeah,
was,
Jokes, yeah,
hey,
everything.
he could make one tense room laugh
Yeah.
really
yeah,
easily.
absolutely.
His charisma too,
Yeah, he
just like the
was.
energy he gave
Yeah,
off.
he was lazy,
Yeah.
but he was very witty.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
think so. We talked about it a lot too. Is that um and I hope you're okay with me telling the story, but they would butt heads. Him and Cal would butt heads a lot about the direction and the performances and the shows and the sets and the songs. And um Shane would tell him, but Kala, this is the current way. This is what's happening right now. This is what's trending. This is what, the style. This is the lyrics. This is the and Kala would come back. Well, the mano never evolve in I don't know thousands of years in the ocean,
Mm.
and so the apex predator remains the apex predator still in the ocean, and that was his thing, and they would always have this we try to achieve the same thing, but using different vehicles. And I think we collectively didn't realize, even though I knew the feeling in my na'au, we didn't understand his lyrics, right? So we didn't know the depth of what he was saying and what it meant to immersion people, or Hawaiian language speakers. So I think that we had to kind of um, look at our situation after, because we made it a point that we'll always kokua for Punana. Whatever events Punana is having, we'll always kokua. But at one point, the Punana Ohanas didn't think that we would still honor that because Keala wasn't with us. And you know, I was kind of the one that implemented that I said, hey, we should always kokua Punana. So I think that even though he wasn't here, we didn't understand that they held on to every single word and the kauna behind what he was saying and what he was, his intentions, and he was very I probably get choked up talking about it,
Mm-hmm.
but he's very intentional.
Mm-hmm.
But because he was so witty and intelligent, he would take it to another level. That what he was saying in Hawaiian, and trying to trying to share his feelings and his beliefs, but then taking it steps further, which made it almost impossible. Right now makes it impossible to continue, because how do you find anybody to do that, even though we've had people and we appreciate the people that are coming in. So I always think, like, if I was Shane or Caleb, Caleb's been living Oahu for a long time, so we've been performing, without him for a little bit. But um when I look at Shane, and when Kiala passed, he didn't want to do music, and I kept telling him, "There's going to be a time that we owe it to the fans. We have to continue." And but I also thought how I would feel if my pakana, that was like the pillar on stage, the one that controlled the narrative of where the group went, the one that invented these lyrics, the one that would be the MC and the host on stage, how does him, being the person he is and kind of introverted, not really comfortable talking and speaking, but very lyrical, very talented, how does he take that reign?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. And so when people call and they say, hey, like books and rush, I tell them, yeah, but I I'm hesitant. I'm hesitant because I understand that difficulty is not just replacing one musician, right? It's not just on guitarist or on one drummer. It's way bigger and way deeper, and it's amazing that we were able to complete Kuokoa. It's amazing that we still get on stage and try our best to
Mm-hmm.
they perform. But I think that it if I can kind of throw it out there to everybody that um it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's really really hard to continue.
Yeah,
It's so much more levels and deeper than everybody
Yeah.
can
I'm
think.
definitely still struggling with a lot of what he just mentioned. Um, we the beginning of this conversation we talked about dynamite. Yeah, so Kid Dynamite is where it started. Yeah, I was a kid back then. At some point, it evolved to Dynamite, and for quite some time now, it's just been Dino. I think I'm a couple years maybe from Dinosaur, but for now we're at Dino, um, and I'm yeah, like he said, more introverted. I feel like who I am on stage and who I am is really two different people. I like my dark corners,
Mm-hmm.
my small circles. Um, so yeah, trying to carry on without Keala has been tough. We try to rehearse all the dead time out of the set. Yeah, I don't like when a song ends and then get dead space because that means I might have to talk and I don't want to talk. So we really do our best to try and keep the set as tight as we can so that we can keep the talking to a minimum. The talking that is there in the set now is scripted. Yeah, it's something that's gonna be the same thing every time at these shows. So, um, he and I have been talking this year. Might be the last. Yeah, I think for him, he feels like this is
Mm.
um probably the last year. Yeah, for me, I'm honestly not sure. Um, I feel like we've been having fun with it. When I look around at our circle when we're traveling, I see a bunch of people who are still having fun, and it's not always fun for me.
Yeah.
Sometimes hard. Um, a lot of times I feel like I'm just getting too old for this. I still have fun when we go out on our trips, but um, yeah, it's not. It's definitely not what it used to be.
I think we're gonna
Definitely
evolve.
missing the kite.
We're gonna evolve our to uh performances and who's on stage and what the business represents. It's ironic that it's the two of us because it started with the two of us in one form way before Kayla, way before Kiala, way before Malu, way before Rob. Like we were friends and we were boys, and it's kind of a strange thing that and ironic that we're doing. But as we talk, I ask him like, it, we should we should step back a little bit more, let him mentor more of the up and coming bands and all the huli that Sudden Rush has planted. For sure, when we came over, he was playing me some new music from some of the younger guys, and it's bananas.
That's
It,
definitely an area that I find joy in.
Mm.
yeah,
Is
Because you work
mentoring.
with Mana Maoli, yeah?
Mana Maoli.
Mm.
Yeah, I was part of the original
Mm-hmm.
um group. Yeah, Mana Maoli that we were touring and raising funds for the school. I try to do what I can to help steer these younger artists in the right direction. I feel like the music industry is good fun, but it's also a really dangerous place. It's easy to get caught up. Yeah, a lot of people all too willing to introduce people to the wrong habits. You know, um, I do feel like I've acquired a great deal of knowledge over the decades, and I really feel like would be poho if I couldn't use this knowledge to help other people. I mean, to me, that's the kind. Really, it's the most beautiful thing that we can do. Yeah, is to uplift the people around us. So, yeah, if I can do anything with the knowledge that we've earned over the years, that I think is what I would like to do
I
more
love
than
that.
anything else is try and help some of these young guys really make a mark for
Mm-hmm.
themselves.
Not make the same mistakes we made.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
That's
That's
definitely
what I
part of it.
appreciate about, the generation before us. Like, you guys did it so that we don't have to make the same mistakes. We know what to do right. We know what to do wrong.
right.
We're
So
still gonna mess up,
I tell
but
Dustin and Treasure all the time, um, whether you ever acknowledge your successes now to watching me mess up is up to you. But I know for sure you had a blueprint of what to do and of what not to do,
Mhm.
right? So the fact that they are have their own ohana and they're successful and they rooted. Um, I like to think that me and Anake gave them a blueprint of both what to do and
Mhm.
what not to do. But I think so. If we look back at the music scene or the Hawaii entertainment scene, so you figure like Kelly Boy that we're talking about, Kapena, John Cruz, Uncle Willie. Even though Kelly kind of came up musically a little bit before us, we look at all them, the Cruz Ohana, right? All of those groups. They Uncle Walter, they all went lay this Hawaiian music and Hawaiian music and that part. And then came Sudden Rush and Ekolu and Natural Vibrations and Ho'onua and um, Sly Dog and all of that generation, which opened the doors for Kolohekai,
Mm-hmm.
Opihi Pickers, Anuhea, Kimie, Paula, and then that is all opening doors for Kaikena and Kule. And so if you look at it, all bricklayers standing on, standing on, standing on. And so I think we sometimes get a little bit upset, a little bit hoo-hoo that um we kind of the black sheep a little bit in the gang because of the style of music, I think. That maybe like we've never won a Nahoku Hano Hano award. We are up for a couple of them. I
Oh,
think we
nice.
deserve the hip hop award because when we
I'll
first
be
start,
there. I'll be there. So hopefully I see you guys there.
so I don't know, we've never really asked for the votes like how we should, but we would love to bless the Kava'aho Ohana with
Mhm.
an award. But it's it's us learning and accepting and understanding that Kuleana. We are
Mhm.
bricklayers, and so I now, now I'm looking at health and my health and the deterioration of my health and the health of our people. And I tell him, I just told him recently, I said, Shane, I'm in it for the long game. I have to walk my daughters down the aisle. I cannot, I cannot leave this earth before I walk my daughters down the aisle. It's very important to me. So I'm gonna live in a bubble. I'm gonna live the way I live. I'm gonna try and keep my peace and my sanity, and I'm gonna juice all the time and every day because that's my goal. That's my ultimate goal right now. My daughter's 18. Treasure is how old are you guys?
She's a year older, so she's 32.
Yeah. So she engaged,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's coming down the line. But my younger daughter cannot date till she's 25. So hopefully
Yeah,
she
you
gets
hear
married by
that? You
30.
hear that, Viola?
So that's the plan, and that's the bricks that I'm laying now,
Mm-hmm.
that foundation. But I really would like to talk about a lot of the funny and crazy stuff we've done on the road, like the PG-13 stuff that we can talk about.
Well,
But
this podcast has no rating, so you could share everything else. It's just what
yeah,
do you want to share?
no,
But that sounds good, and we could go on and on about all these
yeah,
things, but let's take a quick shishi break and we'll
yeah.
come back with the social media questions. What if we told you the next 3 times you fill your tank, you could save money? Well, at Texaco in Hawaii, it's true. You can get $1 off per gallon on your next 3 visits when you download the Texaco app and join Texaco Rewards. Earn points on every fuel transaction and qualifying in-store purchases at participating Texaco stations. Download the app and join to get started today. Visit texacohawaii.com for details. All right, we're back from a quick shishi break. Let's get right into it. Let's rush right into them. Okay. We have a lot of questions. Which one should I choose first? Let me just start off this one from my dad because he just says, this is from Michele Halulu 33. He says, "A'ale kanina wa ka ku'oloha no yalawa." So it's like, no question, just sending his love to you both.
So Mike,
Yeah.
Mahalo, mahalo.
Anakala Mike, gotta get him on the podcast one day. Okay, and I'm gonna go to this next one from Chi Garcia. I think that's Ikaika Garcia. You know Ikaika
Chino
Garcia?
maybe.
Shy?
Shy Garcia.
Oh, Shy
Yeah,
Garcia.
Chino.
Oh no, Chino over
Yeah,
there. I'm
yeah,
looking at
in
the.
Vegas.
I
Is
was
he in Vegas?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Let me click on him. I just see I saw Garcia and I see a Hawaiian flag, so I'm just
Okay.
guessing maybe it's Ikaika Garcia, but it's probably somebody else. Okay, this person says, "How was it growing up as a youth in Paneva Homestead?"
That's Chino.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. You guys talked about it a little bit, but maybe if you want to share some funny stories or anything else.
We for sure had one pecking order. We fought for fun.
Yeah.
We were trying to make a name and make sure. I think because we would go out of the neighborhood and fight, we had to make sure that you could fight in the
Mhm.
neighborhood. I remember that part, but I got a real funny story because I'm the oldest of my siblings, and our curfew is 5:30, and we live 2 houses away from the park, and 5:30 comes, you either get the whistle or right, the sun going down, all that. memes that you see on social media, you know when time for go home. And
Mhm.
um we were all playing football in the field in Paneva, and my mom was walking down from the house. It was after 5:30 already, and she had a belt in her hand. And so I made my younger brother go first, thinking that he would get, the brunt of the discipline. But she wouldn't let him go, and was waiting for me because I had an Otis, and I was supposed to make sure we were home by 5:30. So I remember riding my bike, and I was trying to avoid her, but and so she got me. And right before I was ready to get cracks with that belt, I looked back and I saw all my friends on the field, bro, laughing, just laughing, laughing, laughing. And I just got cracks, and I went home. And you're supposed to be home by 5:30. The rice got to be cooked, and all the kuleana needs to be done. And um, I don't know if that's child abuse or not, but it was, what taught us the
Back
right.
in the day, it's just called lickings. These days,
Yeah,
it'd be child abuse.
but we get so much Paneva stories. It's
I think for me, the kind, um, growing up in Paneva was, um, we did everything together. Yeah, like we was strong. Yeah, we went party, we party together. We drink together. Um, we didn't have much, but what we had together.
Mhm.
We dollar up, $5 up, and go buy a bottle, and everybody, sit in a circle and drink a bottle, or go buy a bag and smoke a bag. Um,
not me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so yeah, shit. I think the kind. Um, we were happy. We were
Mhm.
happy. We could be happy without much. For me, the kind, it started Puhi Bay, yeah, when we were little kids. Every summer you go
Summer
camping
camping.
Mhm.
Puhi Bay. Um, I think that's where we started building a lot of those relationships, and then continuing those relationships into the homesteads when, um, our Hanas would get together for family parties. Um, but I feel like we were happy, we were free, we were the richest kids in the world, even though we never have too much of nothing there. Yeah, some nights was rice and soy with canned tuna, but big pot rice, so everybody got to eat. And um, we didn't want for much, despite the fact that we didn't have much.
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel like that's such a beautiful
I
thing.
don't know. He grew up like, I mean, his house was like Uka. That's where all the rich guys live, right? So that's where he was. But he was Koloya, and he was hanging with us hoods. And
I
um,
wanted my freedom more than anything
Yeah.
else. My parents. I come from a good family. My parents are both very hardworking, um, and they tried to uh, steer me into, uh, I guess we'll say, a better life for the moment. But um, yeah, I wasn't too interested in material
Mhm.
things. I wanted my freedom. I don't think I understood at the time, like I would look around at the freedom the other kids had, and I felt like that was something that I was missing from my life. Um, in hindsight, I understand. I think I have a better understanding of why. A
Yeah.
lot of them had that freedom. It was not necessarily a good thing, but that is what I wanted more than anything at the time. And that's why, shit, I left home early. 13, 14 years old, I was running away. My early teens, um, at least they knew where I was. I was in Paneva. Yeah.
we would get cracks on the internet if we didn't stay true to some of the stories. But I know Mr. Tripp and Alexander Lewis, may he rest in love, but they would be roasting us right now if we didn't share some of that Kolohe stuff. And I remember we used to before where Kaho'opea Street is, that area, it used to be bushes, right? And the Prince
Hmm.
Hill Plaza was all bushes. when we were growing up in the residential part of Paneva, and the things we would do in that bushes, and so
I know,
uh,
like, no. I know, like,
no, no.
no,
So you
like.
got to know this one. When and I did partake in this, but for some reason we went to the macadamia nut fields, and we were going to the bushes, and we would make camps, and we would do all that kind of stuff, and we did the where you did the gun with the clothespin and the you
Oh,
ever did
yeah,
that?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we did all those things, but um I don't know whose bright idea. I think it was Cindy Brown, but somebody's bright Harley. Somebody's bright idea said, let's try smoke the fern. Because it looked like one pakalolo, so let's try smoke the fern. And we did, and we convinced ourselves that we were stoned after smoking the fern. And that's in Paneva. But in Pepe Kill, we used to go to the river a lot. We went prawning a lot. I went to pretty much every river from Papaico all the way to like Hakalau and Ninole. I went from the river mouth all the way up Mauka. I did a lot of prawning with my dad and stuff. But my dad used to teach me this. He used to shoot this. The before when it was all cane fields, he would make this like this cane arrow. He would cut the arrow and it would be like a slingshot, and we would kind of have cane fights in the cane fields, and the country boys and the Paneva boys, and they were both crazy in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I look back and I just love the fact that I have those circles. It's even though we had a lot of arguments and got into it a bunch, I can look back on it now and I'm stoked at those circles. Super good fun.
That's amazing. I love I hear Uncle Kavika Lewis say this and
Yeah, yeah.
Makana Lewis. They say, we don't have everything together, but together we got everything.
Everything. And they were in group of
That's what it
Ohana.
sounds
They
like.
were in
And
Ohana
yeah,
like that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I love those stories.
Shout out to Chino though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
shout out to Chino. Just simpler days, didn't
Sum it
need
up.
much.
To sum it up, I think growing up in Paneva meant that right or wrong, somebody had your back.
Yeah, yeah.
We all all together in one fall.
Yeah, I never grew up on Eva, but I spent a lot of time Kilkaha growing up.
Yeah.
With Pop Warner football, and then going elementary school over there, and that was very, like you said, everybody had their like tight knit community, but my time it wasn't territorial like that.
Yeah, it was.
It still had a little bit of that pride. It was more pride than anything. Like Kilkaha boys, Paneva boys,
is
White
strong.
Puna boys.
Kilkai is strong.
Cowboys, that's how it was growing up. But it was more just pride for like your territory, and I guess more sports too. And like the fights that I saw growing up was like
Did you see a lot of fights like your
not
guys?
not me
Yeah.
specifically. I was just straight to school from sports. That's all.
Yeah. Were
And
there a lot of fights around that time? No, kind of.
in my generation, yes, but I
Yeah.
wasn't a part of
Yeah.
it. And I was born in Mountain View. We grew up Mountain View, had that like playing with all the people on the streets, and then we moved to Waikea.
Okay.
So we was in Waikea for like the majority of my life, maybe from like middle school to late elementary to middle school.
Yeah,
we was going from
the rich side.
No.
from our part of the
But
Ahupua.
that's so funny, yeah, like the
Yeah.
different stuff, like Waikea Rich, and then you got like Sunrise
Yeah,
Ridge,
the
and you got
Sunrise Ridge,
like other places.
Like Kapalama looking down.
Yeah. Okay, so next question comes from Kimberly_Ray_. Shout out to Kimberly. She's always interacting with us on social media. She says, background on the name Sudden Rush.
So Sudden Rush was a roadster my dad had back in the 70s. They were racing on the old airport when that was the racetrack. Before, the track was in Hilo. Yeah, it was a pretty fast car. I think he was doing 9s back in the 70s, which would still be pretty quick today. But I always fancied the name. Yeah, that's it. So
That's all.
yeah, I got the name from.
It's
from his
catchy. It's
car.
nice.
Yeah.
Sudden Rush gives you a little rush. Just hearing them.
I'd like to think it's not just a name, but it's the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it is a feeling. That's a good point. Yeah. I feel like it's a noun. It's an adjective. It's an adverb. You could use it in so many ways, right? Feel the sudden rush. We
There you
are
go.
Sudden Rush. Listen to Sudden Rush. You could use it in all kind of different ways. Yeah,
Calm
it's
down
like
with it. Or
it's
calm
like
down.
it's like aloha. There's multiple meanings.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, mahalo for sharing that. Next question comes from Leymana03. This person says, not all their albums are available on iTunes. Where can we get their albums from? CD.
It is. 3 out of the 4 is
Yeah.
right. So please go check it out on all your streaming sites. But Nation on the Rise, Ku'e, Ku'okoa is on, and again, like we said earlier in the podcast, it's been tough after Keala, but we were able to finally get all of our publishing, and I've been slacking on this part of the business, but the once we do put AR, which we are,
July 31st, La Ho'i Ho'i Ea.
yeah, that's
Mm.
the
We
date.
are re-releasing Ea.
And that's the
So,
CD,
Oh, that's
everybody.
awesome.
Nation on the Rise, the first album, Ku'e, the second album, that's 1997, and then Ku'okoa, which was released
This year.
November 28th, I believe, of last year. So Ea, again on 7/31, July 31st,
Mhm.
Lauio Ea, and then the Ready for Party EP and In Your System singles also need to be uploaded. We have everything, but was Kwai's idea to go with the slow burn
Yeah, he wanted to sign
rather
in
than
Russia.
to put
He wanted to
everything
sign in
back
Russia,
out.
but I told him, "Oh, we're not chasing nobody. We're
Mhm.
not really trying to." And he, he's on a timeline like, yeah, I'm not getting any younger. I want to put this out. And I said, I understand. Um, and so we compromised a little bit, but it's happening when it's happening. But it
Mhm.
is all going to be available, and we hope everybody continues to support that music.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to.
AR is the
Yeah,
one that,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. What? This is random. What is the one song with all the Punana Leo kids singing? It wasn't. Was it Sudden Rush album or was it Anakala Kala just singing?
Okay, Kue get
Cool, eh? That's
no
Hawaiian
Kue
man
summer fun
Oh,
and
fighting
get Don't
for
Blame
his
the Youth.
home.
it was. It was.
Yeah.
I don't know why I can't think of it. It's like a Punana Leo song.
We'll get Iku Mau Mau too. Yeah, Iku Mau Mau goes into Kue, and
Cool, eh?
that's the song with them.
Yeah.
But
So the only one I can think of them singing. The other one with the kids singing is Rob's kids.
oh yeah, and that's on AR. And so AR get Malae and
Oh,
Kealoha in the beginning.
oh yeah. What
With,
song is that? How does it go?
Oh, that's the intro, the
it's the
saga
intro
intro. Yeah.
with Malae and Kealoha is
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah. He's talking
Maki
about
Maki.
yeah.
Yeah, in the
Yeah,
beginning
yeah.
of
I
that.
remember
Yeah,
that.
that's AR.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sudden Rush what?
Anakala Keala. Oh no, that's Don't Blame the Youth.
Imeni
Wait,
Onipa.
so
Ah,
all the
yes, that's the
time,
kind.
all the time is on Blur for us. The 90s into early 2000s is on Blur.
Okay, I gotta look it up because I got it in my head, but I can't remember the melody right
So
now.
Kukawa is Don't Blame the Youth.
Yeah,
That's
Mala'i
that's the
then
one.
is the kind,
that's Don't
the
Blame the
Kukawa.
Youth.
saga
Yeah,
intro.
Yeah, yeah,
that's with Keli'i Reichel.
yeah, yeah. Don't blame the
That was
yeah.
a fun one, man. Kelly, and he was shy in there. He was like, and we was over there. Couldn't believe Keli'i Reichel was on our song and in the studio.
They were
As
so good to us.
they
Him and
were
Fred,
so
they were
good to
really
us.
good to
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, was there one part where like omako na keikioka punana leo e ho'olohe ya mako
Yes, that is one verse. Try again.
omako na keikioka punana leo e ho'olohe ya mako. Eh, oh, was it Hawaiian Eyes? No.
I think.
Me too. I kind of think.
I
We
hope
gotta
I'm not
research
making
that.
this up.
No. You're not. You're not.
Was it Hawaiian Eyes? We gotta look it up after.
Gotta look
I'm,
it
I'm
up. We
so
gotta look at it.
confused
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
I know these things exist. I just don't know. I can't pinpoint it.
Look that up.
Okay, well, let's see. Let's go to our next questions. This one comes from Island.Stepchild. This person says, "Is Shane single?" Ha, I'm just playing. No question. Just that sudden rush needs to come to California. Are there plans to go outside of Hawaii?
Always get plans. I
Mhm.
think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Always get plans, but we definitely too old. I think in a to be in a position to go on a tour.
Mhm.
Yeah. So if
Like a
How
Holo Holo Fest or
Yeah,
something.
well, we could do Holo
Yeah.
Holo Fest, or we'd love to come to Holo Holo Fest,
Hmm.
any of them. But also like
I think they follow podcasts, so
yeah, give
if
us
they're
a ring.
listening, yeah.
But like how at the universities they have their Hawaiian culture organizations and stuff like that. Those are strong groups that would fly artists up, and then from there they could do like a public gig, but the private gig would be on campus. So if we could do
Hmm.
something like that and do a couple one-offs, that would be cherry. But they got to reach out to us, and
Hmm.
I don't really foresee us pounding down the doors and asking to come and play. But if they want us to play,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you think it's because of Anakala Keala is not there anymore, and they who does the like his verses, like
So
the
we have
Hawaiian rap?
right now we have I mentioned earlier, if you had heard of him, is the Native Hawaiian Trading on IG. His name is Kapili Kalahiki Anthony, and he's been a huge blessing
Yes,
for
I
us.
know. Yes, I know who you're talking about now. It just
Yeah,
clicked in my head.
His
Yes,
boat
yeah,
just went on. His house was on.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
part of his
he's
house burned down
crazy.
recently.
the guest house. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's really good. Earlier when we were talking about Hawaiian language and we were talking about how those who do speak might, whether or not look down on those who are learning. Um, and when I started asking questions, I was kind of shy to ask him because, yeah, I mean, shit, I kind, I feel ignorant. Yeah,
Hmm.
I kind, but he was um, really open, really easy to talk to. He's the one who's been doing Keala's parts on stage. So yeah, definitely blessing to have him part of our circle. I really appreciate who he is as a man. Um, I'm thankful that him being a part of our circle is a huge part of the reason that we're able to continue, playing music and spreading our message. Um, but some of the things that I really appreciate, one of the things in particular, I think, is a kind prayer. Yeah, so we always pray before we
Mm.
go on stage, and it has not been the same um, since Kiala passed.
Mm.
I try. I'm good at praying, uh, by myself.
Hmm.
I don't gotta speak. Yeah. Um, and we've had other people lead prayer before we go on stage, but um, yeah, when he prays, it reminds me of. Really feel like it takes me back to when Keala
Hmm.
was um, with us. So definitely thankful for having him with us now. We had him. We have him now. We had Makana Kamahele
Oh,
Bahilo.
that's
He
my
was
class.
with
Yeah.
us.
Bahila.
Bahilat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bahila.
he was with us for a while. Um, yeah, shit for me the kind I like I was telling you, I feel um fortunate, really blessed to still be doing what we're
Hmm.
doing. I feel like it's hard to make a mark, much less stay relevant for as long as we have. So for me, regarding traveling, regarding the awards, like I don't think any of that has the same meaning for me that it may have had at another point in my life. For me, I think um more about tying up loose ends, not understanding, I mean, not knowing how much time I have left.
Hmm.
Um means that those things that um need to get done soon, So um another thing that we kind of touched on earlier was this might be the last year for us, at least as far as Sudden Rush goes. Get plenty more music to be
Hmm.
made. I've been working on my solo project
Hmm.
for well over 20 years now. Um, it's always gone to the back burner because Sudden Rush is always taking precedence. Yeah,
Hmm.
when it I'll go make some music and then we go travel and yeah, listen to this, and um, guys get hungry, and then we release a single or
Hmm.
an EP. Yeah, get back to working on Sudden Rush music, and we've been wanting to release an album for a long time, and it just didn't work out. Yeah.
Mhm.
So after Keala passed, it was really important for me to be able to finish that project. I think it's equally as important for me now to move beyond that, to finish some of the music that I've created over the years. I feel like same way would be Poho to have all of that material from him created for this last album. It would be an absolute shame, I think, for me not to release the music that I've made,
Mm-hmm.
over the years as well. So looking forward to doing that.
Yeah. So, all right. So I hear what you're saying. You want me to be on the album rapping on a Kala Caliphate,
Let's
right? That's
go.
what you guys are. That's what you guys came
Let's
here, right?
go.
Duolingo.
You know, you could just ask me. You don't gotta go beat around the bush. Just ask me. I got it.
Have your people reach out to our
Yeah,
people.
yeah. I'll connect you with my manager. No, that I'm excited for, the next generation. And if it is like the retirement of Such a Rush, I know there's still gonna be a lot of other projects and you
For
know,
sure.
you have your own stuff, you sing as well, so you know.
Kind of.
Nah, it's solid.
Get, get
And
some.
anything get auto tune.
Get some stuff we
Please,
I
can.
man.
never heard Hawaiian auto tune. Maybe that's in the next evolution.
I
We
don't
talk
know
about
that
evolution,
was
right?
one. That. Oh man,
Not
that thing,
auto tune.
bro, not auto tune, but that vocals is amazing.
Amazing.
Imwa, I don't know what you did on that project, but
Okay, you
that
gotta
thing is
talk about
fire.
it. Yeah. So I just remember too. I didn't touch upon like the Hawaiians looking down upon people. We can't do that. People learn at different paces. People all start from zero. You know. So if you're just gonna you know critique and look down upon people for trying to learn something, then that says more about you than the person.
You know
And
what?
you never see somebody who's actually successful and doing something really high value that's talking down to
Yeah,
people.
right.
It's always uplifting.
Yeah.
There's this video, Kingdom Cop Stop. I think Jojo, um, Kalapana. What is his last name? Jojo. You know what I'm talking about?
Like, down in Kalapana.
Yeah. So
Um,
anyway, Jojo got stopped up in
Paul.
Pahoa, and he kept asking to talk to a police chief,
Oh, Henderson. Georgia
Henderson. Yeah.
Stevens, bro.
Um, and then had one cop, and this is the part of the video that really stands out for me. The cop came in and asked him, Lelo Hawaii, if you speak Hawaiian language, because he's
Persona,
taking
Jojo.
the sovereign stance. Yeah, he's he riding dirty, the car illegal, no more license. Yeah, like talk to the police chief. So all of these different cops come, and the one cop and he asked him, well, you speak the kind Hawaiian language? And Jojo went, no. And I remember feeling like that was, excuse my language, I almost said the F, but
Mhm.
F an asshole. That's
Mhm.
not freaking the kind. To be so proud, yeah, that you're gonna look down on this guy who is taking that stance despite the fact that he doesn't speak Hawaiian language. And I felt like that was ignorance. Absolute, absolute and complete ignorance.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because it's not by choice. I wish I could speak Hawaiian language. It's not by choice that my father didn't speak Hawaiian language or that it wasn't passed down to him. It's not his choice or his fault that wasn't passed down to me. Understanding our history um, means understanding that that was something that was taken away from us. So to look down on somebody who is missing that now in this time, yeah, is either ignorance or a lack of understanding of um, our history.
Mhm.
Well, that's a spin on it, but it is my choice that I mean, uh, we as Makua when put our kids through immersion, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's our choice that I was telling him that my kids right now are smashing in Hoiva. I'm so proud of them. They're doing things that I wish I could do. I wish that I did. I
Mhm.
started paddling at 32 years old. I didn't take it serious till 5 years ago. My son is 13. He won state gold medalist.
Mhm.
My daughter's paddled in Samoa. She plays seventh in the world in a so it's all these things that that even though I cannot do, or maybe my time went past in certain things, I for sure was able to
Play a part.
play a
Mm-hmm.
part, and
Mm-hmm.
laying foundation for them to stand on, and now watch them grow. And I find it even more fun to watch them and cheer them on than for me to be in the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I like
Spoken,
that.
spoken like a true steersman. Eh?
yeah, I love
Yeah,
it. But
steering us on the
my
right
kids are
course.
steering. I
Yeah,
cannot believe it.
yeah,
It's so amazing. I just love it so
yeah.
much. Yeah.
So I think I agree. It's not your fault that you weren't taught Hawaiian, but it is a choice
Yeah.
that you can make to learn Hawaiian now,
Yeah.
which is what
Yeah.
you're doing, which is what a lot of people can learn from this.
Break the cycle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, yes, it sucks. Our history sucks. It's
Yeah.
unfair. I'm so like I hit the lottery being born into a house that speaks Hawaiian.
Right.
But even if I didn't, you know, could still make the effort and choice to learn it with all the resources that we have now. Just like I made the choice to learn other languages. You know, Hawaiian has less resources than others, but here is the best
But
place to learn.
40 years, you know, for
Yeah,
it's the resurgence, the Renaissance is
yeah,
40 years, right? So if
50.
50,
Yeah,
so if you yeah, 50, that's right. So if you think about it, um, look at the amazing progress that we've
I talk about it
grown
all the
in
time.
50 years.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Since I was at Navajo,
right,
100 kids from kindergarten to
right.
12th grade came back from Peace Corps, visit my little brother. He was graduating 2020. 500.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
See, so I'm gonna put it out toward to you and to you that you guys have to Vala'o more often.
I know.
You guys have to Olelo more often, whether it's on
Mhm.
Instagram or via text, that you guys keep brushing up on all of that because
It's like my dad. Aloha,
yeah,
Hawaii, Valeno,
yeah.
aloha,
So
Hawaii,
Or,
you speak fluently
Mm-hmm.
and you still do Duolingo?
In other languages.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
see.
Yeah, my
Oh,
dad speaks all the time with us in all our text messages.
is
But
Micah still? Is he
yeah,
keeping up?
with
Yeah,
his kids.
but yeah.
Kani is about to go to Punanalo, I
All
think.
right.
And then, Lei and Malu,
Right.
their
Right.
their kids is
Yeah.
at Hi'ipepe
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Punanalo. But for me, um, so Hawaiian is part of my life. So like I said, it's a tool. I don't use it too much on social media. Like I don't, because I have to think about this. I reflect a lot. Like, okay, if I'm doing this, what's the intention? What is my intention? If I just put it out on social media just to put it out because I want to look cool, I want people to know like I'm Hawaiian. This kind of going back to like the cop stories, like, oh, you olelo, you know. Like for me, I don't see myself as better because I olelo. Like I don't feel like I have to do that to be at a higher value than any other person in this society. So for me, I don't really share it on social media as much, like it, because it's a way to communicate with my family. That's what olelo Hawaii is. It's part of my identity growing up, and it's just one of the tools I have in my tool bag. So to me, if I were to really push it out on social media, it wouldn't feel organic to me, as where I'm just like I'm doing this for the lahui. No, I'm just doing this to look cool.
Is if did
Yeah.
you ever come across? Because I know um, a few of the holohas have come across where you've been in one circle or in one elevator or in public, and somebody was talking stink about somebody in Olelo Hawaii, not knowing that you understood. Have you
I've
experienced? No.
never been in that
Oh, it's funny.
situation.
I had three stories that I know of that it's funny. One was on job interview. One job interview, and the interviewer, I think what she was the interviewer, went in, and the two the two younger Kanaka were in the room, and they started to stink talk, and didn't realize that Anake could olelo Hawaii too, and
Mhm.
Anake had to shut them down after. It's
Oof.
funny.
Yeah, that's why you never know
You
who's
never know. You
listening.
never know.
But that's something that I'm very conscious of too,
Yeah, I can
is
tell.
not using Hawaiian as my secret language,
Yeah, yeah.
not just using Hawaiian as a way to benefit myself. So, for example, like we don't speak Hawaiian with our siblings a lot, but when we're in public and sometimes, you just want to say something you want other people to hear, not necessarily talk crap about them, but just say it, and then we start speaking Hawaiian. I'm always conscious of that because it's like, why can't we just do that regularly? Why does it have to be this secret language that we're using when we're out surfing and we want to say like something about this guy that cut us off, or we're out in public and we just want to make sure that you're hearing something, or saying like, oh, that book is too expensive, don't buy it, you
I
know?
think that a lot of what you're saying right now comes from the social media world that you grew up in, and that you have this consciousness of not necessarily being politically correct, but just being sensitive and aware and maka'ala of everything and your surroundings, what you say, when you say it, and your intentions and stuff. And then when you get to our age, it's like, oh, give a rip.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, I mean, I say whatever I want on this
yeah,
podcast. It's got to me
yeah.
in some heat
So,
many
good,
times.
good, good. Be yourself.
So I be myself, but what I'm saying is just like I don't want Hawaiian to be only my secret language. You know, if I'm gonna speak Hawaiian, I'm gonna speak Hawaiian.
Good.
You know, I'm not gonna do it just to
Sure.
like I'm in front of everybody and like now I'm with my brother and like like Olelo Hawaii ka and you know we're just doing it just to like impress people.
Right. That's why I
Yeah,
was telling him
yeah,
about my small kids. They look at us like they don't just turn it on and turn it off, right? If they're gonna be about it, they're gonna be about it.
exactly. Yeah,
It's not a on command kind of thing, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's it's the way they are and the way they live, and if
yeah,
they choose to and they choose not to, but it's definitely not to put on a show or
yeah,
to be like that. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That's why if I felt like I was a little bit more involved in and it was more authentic to me, like I'd be like. Vili na mai kako, mai keone o hilo aika, hiki o kala,
yeah,
mai
yeah,
hae hae, whatever, you know?
yeah.
But that's not who I am. That's
Right,
not who I am.
right.
So like I can do that, but like I feel like when I think about it, if I were to do that, it would only be to show off.
Yeah,
And I don't want to do it just to show off.
yeah.
So I'll just say aloha mai kako, you
Good.
know? Yeah. Okay. Next question comes from Strider underscore Resendez. This person says, what are your thoughts on the Hawaiian culture and its changing? Aloha nui loa.
Um, so my thoughts on the Hawaiian culture and the way it's changing,
And if it's changing.
and
Yeah.
if it's changing, I think that I don't look at the word balance. I look at the word harmony.
Mm,
And so if you say balance, it means that you're choosing that this is greater than this or this is less.
mm,
So I look at the harmony of where the world is and then where our culture is and where our Hawaiian way of thinking is. And I don't look at it like this way is greater or less than this way. I feel like we try to find a way to, for example, like Sudden Rush, we try to take a hip hop style of music from a Hawaiian perspective, right? So I look at how do we intertwine it versus oh they do popolo rap and we do Hawaiian rap and that's one different thing. I look at the I look at health the same way. I look at um I just try to look at everything like that. That what is the common goal or what is the thing that we agree on and then focusing more on that than the decisiveness. So if you look at Hawaiian culture, I am stoked that we have more language, right? I'm stoked that it's being accepted more um, around the world, but it's more prevalent in Hawaii where it should be. I do know, like when we went to the World Juicing Championships, even though there were people from Jamaica and other tropical places and other areas, everybody gravitated to us when we said it was Hawaii. Me and Anake was walking around and say, "Oh, where you from? Oh, we're from France. Oh yeah, where you guys from? Oh, we're from Hawaii. Hawaii." And it was always like that. And so, um, I think that the more and more the lens is put on Hawaii, and the greater we become as far as our cohesiveness, the better it's gonna be. I don't know if that makes sense, but
totally.
yeah,
Yeah, I think so. And then that just goes back to all the divisiveness that we see today within our
yeah,
own Hawaiian community,
yeah.
you know? It's like why does it have to be right or wrong? How come it can't just be different, you know?
Because we always look at what I think that we always look at what we don't agree on, right? So if you agree on a candidate, but then the candidate, or if you disagree on a candidate, he asked me, "Am I left or right today?" And I said, "What do you mean, handed?" And he said, "No, left or right wing." And I said, "I don't know. I look at the candidate. I try my best to look at what they stand on, and hopefully I can find the right candidate for the right views. But I'm not really looking at oh so and so does this and so does that, and because we're never gonna find the one person that can be all of everything that we want to believe in, right? And what we stand for. Um, like for example, like Mayor Billy Kenoy, that's a one in a million kind of guy, And so not everybody gonna be one Billy Kenoi, you know. And he was a boardroom board shorts kind of guy, right? He can go from Honolulu to the state capital and rock, right? Rock in the surf, rock in the boardroom. He was intelligent. He was smart. He was fearless. He had the work ethic. One in a million kind of guy.
And
And
he spoke in pidgin.
he spoke in
I
pidgin, and
love that.
he was kolohe. You know what I mean? And so it's hard to find that. Is he better or less than or whatever than the next or whatever? That's up for debate. But you got to look at the good things that the administration before. So if you look at Harry Kim, Billy was his executive, right? So how can you say Harry Kim is bad if you
Billy.
but you love Billy
Mm-hmm.
when Billy went learn, even though at the end they were at odds at some
Mm-hmm.
things. And that I think that all comes with maturity. As we grow older, we don't really um except if you're on stubborn Portuguese, on stubborn Pake, you hold them all the way to the end, right?
Yeah.
But as you grow older, you realize that it ain't that big of a deal, that stuff, right? The surface stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then when you get the real deeper stuff, then you go into um like how it was back in the day, right? You're gonna have one chief and you're gonna you're gonna battle it out. But really, most subjects aren't that bad. You know, you
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be. I'm never gonna talk to you again. You know, so I don't know.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Totally. I agree.
For me, regarding um, what was it, culture,
Yeah,
and
if
where culture
the
is
culture
changing.
and if it's changing.
So I do feel like in a lot of ways it's changing for the better. Yeah, like you said, 100 students to 500 students. So the Renaissance, the awakening. Yeah. Um, at the same time, I think that we're living in a time where we need to be more political about our our stance regarding today's politics, yeah, today's government, because like it or not, yeah, sovereign or not, if I break the law, I go to their jails. I am judged in their courtrooms according to um, their laws. Yeah, so the changes that are taking place here in the islands now, yeah, what's happening with our government now, um, I think there are a lot of people who are not okay with the way that we are being governed. And I'd like to think that that's the reason that we're seeing so many of the kind, our generation, people that we would never expect to um, get into politics,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, or running for county council and different offices. And I'd like to think it's because um, people see the disconnect between um, our culture and what we're trying to hold on to, what we're trying to perpetuate, and the reality of everyday life. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I see. I think that there's definitely awakening happening. I think that's a beautiful thing, but I do feel like we also need to be aware of what's happening within our government and in the world around us today, because this is, um, yeah, the times that we're living in, we're on the cusp of some major change.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
think change is bad either.
yeah,
You know,
not necessarily.
growth is uncomfortable, change is
Hmm.
uncomfortable, but it's necessary sometimes.
Yeah.
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 Awesome. Okay. Next question comes from underscore Hawaiian baby girl. This person says, what is one topic in current events do you wish Keala was alive to drop lyrics about?
Ooh,
It's a good one.
wow, that's a real good one. Um, I think being priced out of paradise more as heavy as that topic is post pandemic. I think you know, with Ian Tongi and all of that, that American Idol time, I think he would have been able to put a good spin on a lot of the Kanaka more so than ever moving away. It's really sad for me
That would be so cool.
to think about all the friends and family that felt the need to, you know, leave and try and make a better life for themselves. And Um, at the same time, like we've held on to Hilo for so long. Yeah, like Hilo's the sleepy town of Hilo
Mhm.
is different now, but we've held on and we've been able to hold on strong to that slow lifestyle. Um,
Which is why I love going back every now and
yeah,
then
and
because it
so
never really
it
changes.
never really changes.
Yeah.
You just get more people,
Yeah.
right? And so
And still not even that much compared to
yeah, not even that much,
here.
but more than we would like.
Yeah,
So don't
totally.
go because it
I
rains a
see.
lot. It rains a
Yeah,
lot.
I see that with a lot of the places that
Yeah,
we used to go growing up,
right.
overcrowded.
It's storming right now.
Yeah.
Don't go.
Okay.
But I think yeah, his lyrics on that and or his perspective on that current situation, and then for sure Lahaina,
Oh, yeah.
Hawaii would have been. I mean, yeah,
How
like
inspiring would that be hearing
yeah,
a Southern
an
Rush
anthem.
song
Yeah,
about
yeah,
Lahaina?
yeah. So
Yeah.
Lahaina grown.
Yeah.
We gotta get in studio. I think yeah, we put one anthem together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what? AI
yeah, you could do it.
it
Yeah,
could
yeah.
do. I don't. Is that like disrespectful? Is that respectful? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't like AI, and I think I don't like AI because I don't understand it. But I'm afraid of
It's happening whether we
yeah,
like it or
whether
not.
you like it or
Yeah.
not, right? So it's like the real estate boom where
Yeah.
it's happening whether we like it or not. But
We're talking about AI
his
Like
him,
his voice.
Keala.
Like you can make a song with Drake's voice
yeah,
saying
I wouldn't
whatever.
be for that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think I don't think artificial intelligence has enough information to be able
That
to
would be
play that part.
disrespectful to his ohana.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, but his perspective on it would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess that's what we really want is a
yeah, the
perspective.
perspective. Yeah,
Yeah. The voice is one thing,
you
but
know
the
his he, so in my lifetime, the amount of deaths that we've had in the last 10, 15 years in our close circle, um my dad, his dad, Caleb's dad, like that, and then so the two people that I've cried the most for is my dad and Kiala, and I think that, um, like for my dad, it was years and years and years. I cried for a lot, so I felt like I lost my dad in pieces. Where I would hear one song, or I would go to his favorite place to eat. I would, I would smell. I would have a smell. I would always come back, and then that year is the year Viola was born. So what happened for me was I was fortunate to be a stay-at-home dad for the first couple years of Viola's life, but it was when I lost my dad. And so I have this un, unbelievable attachment to her and that Pilina to her. But when Kiala passed, it was so sudden and so out of the blue that we wasn't even prepared.
Mhm.
And hearing any kind of Sudden Rush music, talking about Sudden Rush, I don't think I was tremendously close. Like I think me and Shane is closer because we had a longer history. But I talked to Cal every single day. If it wasn't about Sudden Rush, it was about just we would talk every day
Mhm.
via phone or text. And when I look back, I still have his text messages. I haven't deleted his text messages. I am gonna because it helps with the healing, I think. But I've held on to it for all this time. But losing him when really solidify the journey I'm on now with So Juicy. And so him crying for him, it still chokes us up
Mhm.
to today.
Yeah.
Um I think it was just because it was so sudden and we wasn't expecting that. But
For sure.
that whole thing when forced us to finish the project and when forced us to have a different perspective
I
on things.
feel like the kind. I I've shed more often for Keala than I did for my dad.
Wow.
Um, and yeah, shit. Like you said, just because it was sudden, yeah. Like my dad, I knew my father was old. I think you're more prepared.
Mhm.
Yeah, you understand that his time is coming. So when it comes, kind of see no coming, and that was not a luxury that we had with Keala. Yeah, you think you have time, you think you have more time, and um, shit. Just the other day, I posted the picture for Father's Day. Oh,
their
Oh,
Proudest.
bruh. Yeah, so there's the picture of the three of us with the three of our dads, and my father is gone, Caleb's father is gone, and Keala's dad is still here, but Keala is not. And yeah, that was not something that I think I thought about a lot before posting that picture, but in seeing that picture, shit, that's got to be the kind, because as hard as it is for me to deal with losing him, yeah, I can only imagine what it's like for his family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shout out to their Ohana.
I
It,
know.
it it did from our side looking at it. It broke them. Kala was
Mm-hmm.
their glue, their tuko, right? He was the one that he being the oldest of the siblings and being the one for blaze the trail and stuff. Yeah, it's and then for his only son, and yeah, it's hard for us to really continue going on in Sunrush, and I think that, um, with all due respect to everybody that's calling and or that wants to do gigs and business and stuff like that, but this is hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for us to.
I still get that kind. I mean, like, over the course of this interview, shit, I'm kind of embarrassed. I feel like a crybaby ass.
Oh, let it out. It's all human.
But
We get
um,
tissues,
Oh man,
right under there.
like when we're on stage, sometimes we're up there and I'll have a moment and I gotta quickly tell myself now is not the time, you know, and just get through it. But yeah, it hasn't been easy, you know.
Yeah, I can see that. I love it when people cry. It sounds weird, but it's just because it shows how much something means to them. When people get vulnerable, it's because these things matter, and I can see how much that he's meant to you, the both of you, and Ohana. And like I knew him from a distance. He was one of my teachers at Punana. Listened to the music, grew up with the Step Kids. So
I think
I-
make no mistake though, we might cry, but a lot of it too is to show that we can have this emotion, right? As Kane, we can have
yeah,
this emotion. But make no mistake, we still get up, eat it, and pound. You know what I mean? Like we're
yeah,
not, we're trying. I think as we grow as friends, and we're trying to get into the deeper root issues of the things that we feel, and talk to people that we can communicate these feelings with, and then learn and grow from it, and grow strong Kane too. Build up strong Kane and be vulnerable, but make no mistake, like we still can flip this hat backwards and feel, we can still do what we got to do,
yeah, yeah.
but things are different. And so I love addressing all of this. I love to open it up and speak about it, because it makes our Pilina stronger. It makes, communicating like this helps to see the humanness in people, and then understanding that pain, you share the pain, I share the pain, and then we figure out how to heal from the pain.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Yeah. Mahalo for sharing that, and mahalo for just sharing, the experiences that you've had.
Yeah.
I know it's not easy, so totally
Yeah.
just mahalo you too. Okay. Next question comes from the same girl. She says before Kiala passed, there was talks to do a collab with Ekolu. Is that still a conversation?
It's up to Dar and Lucella.
Yeah, shit, I would love to.
I wanted to do. I was asking them when Lucella shared Hawaii's Finest, that song with us before it was
Mm-hmm.
released, and I said, Kela,
Ekolu for me has been for a really long time. Ekolu has been the bar
the bar.
as far as um, what a professional set looks like. Yeah, and I still use them as an example today when I talk to some of these young guys. When I talked earlier about practicing or rehearsing the dead time out of a set. Yeah, it's not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
having transitions for every song to song. Sometimes a song ends, um, but before there's dead space, yeah, whatever instrument is the first instrument on the next song, you can bring it in and practice all of the dead time out of a set. I think the first group, local group that I can recall performing a set like that was Ekolu, at Crown Room. Got to be one of
Mm-hmm.
the fearless events. But um, if you watch any Kolu show, they start and then 45 minutes or 60 minutes later, it stops. Yeah, they're not performing a song or a block of songs and then performing another song, and it's from when they start to when they finish, it's rehearsed, and you can really see the time that they put into their show um, off stage. Yeah, understanding um, how hard it is to put together, a solid set. Understanding how much time it takes to perform for that hour. I think that's something that a lot of people don't see. Um, is we'll come and we'll play a show for 45 minutes or an hour, but there are hours and days over the course of weeks, sometimes months, yeah, that goes into performing that 45 minutes or hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, for sure. I think Ikolu is and has been um the bar for me personally, as far as the example of what a tight, what a really professional performance looks like.
Yeah.
So if Dar calls and says, Kwai-Chang, bring over some juice to the house, we're gonna kick back in the pool and we're gonna talk stories about some collaborations. We can definitely have it. We'll
Let's
fly
make it
tomorrow.
happen. Let's make it happen.
I can give you some insight on Ekolu. So I use it right now. I coach at Kyoka Canoe Club. I coach the novice men, and one of the things that I share with them is what Lucella shared either with me or on social media before. Is there's a difference between rehearsal and practice. So when you come together, so hoiva'a, when you paddle, when you come to the beach, we're rehearsing. But when you go home, you got to practice, right? You got
Practice
to,
is what you do on your time.
yes,
Rehearsal is
Mm-hmm.
what we do when we come together.
right. So
Mm-hmm.
you go and you do your push ups, your sit ups, right? So Lucella says, okay, guys, this is the songs we're going to do for this show, right? You go home, you practice, make sure you know your keys and your hits and all of that. And then when we come together, we put them all together. That's the same way when when you paddle. I tell them when you come to the beach, at this point in the game with two regattas in, we're not coming here for breakdown technique and learn stuff. We're here to blend already. We're here to make the music and make the set. We're not here to practice the individual technique. We're in game time already. So yeah, Lukela and Dar and Akpu and all them gangs, they've been a very, very proficient and efficient group and business for a long time. So that's why they're reaping the rewards they do. And I don't know how come they win so much in Vegas, but they do win a lot in Vegas.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
When you were talking about like nobody sees all the work behind, and they just see like the 45-minute set, like you practice all the time, rehearsals, practice on your own, and just to have like a 40-minute show, hours and hours, days, weeks, months, years, just for that. It reminds me of this. I don't know if it's a quote or something I saw about Usain Bolt, how he had to train
Mm-hmm.
for years and
Mm-hmm.
years and years just to run for 6 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same with
Crazy,
paddling because
crazy,
paddling is
right?
like a 3 minute in the regatta, it's only 3 minutes.
Yeah,
And everybody's waiting all day, all season for that one time that you race for all of 3 minutes, you know. But
yeah.
it's what we train for, just like that.
Mm-hmm.
60 minutes or whatever it is. So
Yes.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
just I appreciate the hard work that goes on behind the
Just like
scenes.
you,
Yeah,
what people gonna see for 1 hour of podcast or whatever it is,
yeah,
how much time you're putting in behind the scenes, how much time
yeah,
Jordan's putting in behind the scenes.
yeah.
It's
Constant every
yeah,
single day,
yeah.
every single day.
It's different from going and
Yeah,
showing up to a 9 to 5, right?
yeah,
You go
yeah.
and show up to
You don't got
Target.
weekends off. You don't got holidays
Yeah,
off.
yeah, no,
Has to be a labor of love
yeah,
first.
Totally. Yes, and we all love what we do.
yeah.
Yes. Okay, last question comes from Jesse Perry 924. This person says, "What do you do when you're not performing and writing songs?"
Whatever it takes. Seriously, so I'm not a 9 to 5er. So really, whatever it takes. Guys ask me what I do nowadays, and that's it's one of two answers. Usually, it's whatever it takes or as little as possible. Always trying to do both.
I like that.
Um, yeah, should I enjoy a simple life. I feel like I've been going hard for so long that I enjoy the simple things. I like ride motorcycle. I like beach days, and I love spending time with family and friends. Yeah, I really believe that happiness is having someone to share it with. Yeah, so
Life is better shared.
yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
I totally agree.
And for those who feel like it's lonely at the top, should have took somebody with you.
Yeah, yeah. I like that. Yeah. It's that some people think they gotta climb to the top alone, but then they have no one to celebrate it with.
Hmm.
But it's like that Chinese proverb or that one quote that says like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you
Yeah.
want to go far, go together.
Go together, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
and you know
could
how much
quote
times he tried to quit this group in the
that.
last 30 years? He don't understand what it took to hold on to just the Instagram,
Mm,
right? Holding on just to the Instagram that opens the doors till today, you know.
mhm,
But I tell him, I said, "Bro, I'm playing the long game. Like I know this, and I know I never do that, and sometimes this and whatever. But um, it. So my promise to Kiala was that we'd get our publishing back. That when he passed, before he passed, that was what it was, and my vision is to hopefully get this business together once and for all. And I feel like we're super close to where it can run as a well-oiled machine, and that we can pass it on to the kids, and that the kids can run the merchandise and the
mm,
websites and the Instagrams, and take it to the next level by perpetuating the lyrics that was already laid and the lyrics that will be for the future. And so I'm I'm really working towards that goal, and that's my role in the VA for Southern Rush, and um, yeah, we're gonna try and ride it as long as we can. Um, More so, what he's talking about, I think, is more on stage,
mhm.
right? But behind the scenes and off stage and the business, I think we're gonna keep it for
It's a
forever.
brand.
Yeah, it's a
It's
brand.
it's not just a band.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a add an R inside. It's a
yeah,
brand.
yeah. And so that's the focus, I think. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's why I'm in the same journey trying to get this into well-oiled machine where
yeah,
you can just automate things,
yeah,
build the team, build all these things, so you can have a little bit more freedom to do other things. Yeah,
yeah.
awesome. Okay, so mahalo everybody for the social media fan questions. Make sure you leave some for our next guest, and maybe your question will make it on the podcast. We're coming to the back end of the podcast, and I like to ask all of my guests the same question about aloha and what keeping it aloha means to them. So, in your lives, I don't know how you want to decide who goes first, whoever thinks of an answer. In your life, how do you keep it aloha?
I've lived a very selfish life.
Mm,
Um, I think um, life changed for me when my father died. When my pops passed, um, I think I understood that someone needed to step up and take care of our ohana. Yeah, make sure my sisters are good, make sure my mom was good. Um, that changed my life. I like to say I was Peter Pan into my 40s. Yeah, I got to be a kid up until my dad died. And then when he died, I think my life kind of went 180. Um, um, in that change, I learned that life is so much more fulfilling when you live for other people. Yeah. When I stopped living for me and started living for my ohana, when I stopped doing things that I wanted and started doing things that I needed to do for my ohana, I think there's a different sense of fulfillment. Yeah. So, yeah, without sounding cliche, aloha is love. Yeah. Aloha is um, more than a term, a way of life, a way of being. Yeah. be pleasant, be humble, be grateful above all things. I think attitude of gratitude. Yeah. Um, he talked a lot about trauma over the course of this podcast, and shit, we all get the kind um, those hard times, those dark times that we've lived through. Um, but I do believe that the kind planting positive seeds, yeah, and um, a total brain fart.
No, that's so beautiful what you shared already. I think
But
that's a
yeah,
great way of
so
keeping it aloha.
I do feel like the kind aloha is way of life, yeah, way of being, be pleasant. Oh yeah, gratitude. Um, so yeah, the kind. I'm quick to anger. Um, I can get into my feelings, at times, as we saw today. Um, and I find that counting your blessings, yeah, being aware of how much we have to be thankful for
Mm-hmm.
goes a long way towards. Um, it's hard to be angry and thankful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hard to be depressed and thankful. So I think that when we take time to count our blessings and realize how much we have to be thankful for, um, that puts you in the right state of mind, the right state of being, um, to share that way of being, that feeling with the people around you. For me, that's the kind living aloha.
Yeah, I guess that's why they say yes, I'll bless her, and why blessed never stressed, right? Because you can't be blessed
Yeah,
and stressed at the same time.
yeah.
Awesome.
What is like the whole question? What
How
is
do you keep it aloha in your life?
how do I keep it aloha in my life? I think that with all of the things that I've done good and I've done bad, that when at one point in time the relationships that haven't worked out, or the pilikia that I'm having with um, individuals for whatever reasons, I think in my entire life I've been misunderstood. I think that I've always been looked at as somebody who was trying to do, trying to put the light on myself for myself. And I feel as though that misconception of me has caused me to have rifts that I maybe at some point in my life I was trying to make a name, and yes, I'm trying to, you know, promote a business or whatnot. But if I look back at my entire life, I was always trying to think of the va'a. I really was trying to think about everybody in the va'a. That And so what I've learned now is, if I say, "Hey, Kamaka, Shane, jump in my canoe. We're gonna paddle to Tahiti. In Tahiti, gonna have all the beautiful things that you would love. You're gonna have clean air, clean water, whatever." I paint this picture and I said, "Jump in my va'a." I said, "You in train?" "Oh yeah, I was in train." "You in train?" "Yeah, in train." And then we jump in the va'a, and the first leg of the trip, when hurricane come, it's tipping the va'a, and then we go a little bit more, and then um, more strong winds, more big waves, and the va'a huli, and then everybody swimming to shore, and everybody reach the shore, and they go, "Kwai-Chang, it was all your fault. You told me we was gonna go to Tahiti, and you told me was gonna have all these beautiful things." And I said, "I did, but I also had asked you if you didn't train. Did you train? You said you trained." I didn't know what I was doing, so that's my disclaimer now. That when I tell you jump in my va, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I know I'm trained. I know I'm there, and I know I'm gonna handle, and I know I'm gonna be there. I'm not gonna turn on you because the va'au in huli, because of an unforeseen circumstance. And so, for me, keeping it aloha is that I hope to one day repair those relationships, but I'm not gonna compromise who it is that I am and what I stood for and what I did, why I did what I did. I'm gonna hold myself accountable to the mistakes I made. But if you continuously point the finger at me and was only me, then I cannot. The relationship is, we cannot repair it
Mm-hmm.
because you never step up and
Absolutely.
say, "Oh, I went jump in the canoe." I said I told you I didn't train and I was down and I went jump in the canoe. If you never love me enough to come back to the table and say, "Hey, what would happen, bro?" Well, you saw what would happen. The hurricane went calm. I had only one hoy and I tried to steer in this direction and went huli. So for me, keeping it aloha is that I try to remain respectful to whatever it is that you feel and why why the relationship isn't the way, but I'm not gonna compromise. So I try to be genuine, I try to be honest, and I try to be straight up and be accountable, but I'm not gonna ever anymore take all the blame. It took your decision to jump in the water too.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, the unforeseen circumstances came. I did not intentionally tell you to jump in one canoe to drive them straight into a hurricane. That's not what would happen. So, yeah, keeping it aloha is stay true, be honest, right? Be straight up and say, hey, you know what? I messed up. I did this. I didn't mean for this to happen. I thought we loved each other enough that we could work past it. But obviously, you never fix whatever you didn't fix, and you still think it was only me. I'm sorry it didn't work out,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna keep it aloha.
I love that.
Yeah,
It makes me think of this. I love quotes. I love
yeah, me too.
looking at them on Instagram. I think it was like the man who blames others still has a long way to go. The man who blames himself is almost there, and the man who blames no one
Has arrived.
has arrived.
Yeah. See, and so
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm at in my life, right? Is trying to get to that person who's not blaming anybody and just we arrive and it's hard, it's hard being an entrepreneur. I've had so many ups and downs, right? And I honestly feel in my heart that it was unforeseen circumstances, and for the things that I could control and was responsible for, I do take full responsibility and accountability for it. But the things that was out of my control is not up to me. And so taking a quick turn to that, that's how I got into So Juicy.
Yeah.
I internalized all of those feelings as an entrepreneur and I got sick. I was 115 pounds in 2016. And right before my mom passed away, my mom reached out to Anake to my wife and said, "Hey, um, check out on my son because I think something he ma'i, I think." And but she was ma'i too,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I looked into my health and did some blood work and I realized I had hyperthyroidism. And I believe hyperthyroidism for me was not having one physical outlet for all the stress that I was having and all the things I was internalizing and people stepping on my neck and blaming me for things and um, me not having one physical outlet. I wasn't paddling, I wasn't training, and I was eating unhealthy and I was living an unhealthy life and I got sick. I got sick and I decided to I had my baby, I had Violu, and so I said I have to make a change and I have to do things differently, and so I started to look at La'ao Lapa'ao, and so we ended up taking the Haole way of juicing, I guess, and kind of putting a Hawaiian twist on it, and that's how the the birth of So Juicy was, and I think that a year into it, Kala passed all of a sudden from whatever it is that he passed from, and then we lost Kaulana, we lost Uncle Willie, we lost Billy, all those deaths at that time. And that same year I lost my mom. Was like we have to make a change, and so I'm so diligent, and he knows like how much I've been diligent in the things that we've done as Sudden Rush and as Fearless Hawaiian, which also came from him. Um,
I can attest to the fact that what he's talking about now, um,
we went Whole Foods.
from when he was young, um, he really was trying to do something good for himself, yeah, so that he could uplift those around him. He and I, we've had a lot of conversation over the years, so I think I do understand his mentality. Yeah, and I understand a lot of what he's speaking on now. Um, I really feel like it's unfortunate that some of those situations are what they are. Yeah, but um, I believe wholeheartedly in what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was, okay, we had Sudden Rush. We were doing Sudden Rush, okay, and in the 90, 95, 96, 97, Kue came out. Um, he drew this picture of a Muay Thai guy that had kind of same hair as me, kind of when looked like me, and then I even put, I don't know if he or I put Fearless Hawaiian around it, and we just had that picture and that logo as Fearless Hawaiian. And so, as Sudden Rush was growing and evolving, we had one. This is my side of the story, but we had an argument, and one of the guys in Sudden Rush, one of the three guys, told me, "Oh yeah, we would blow up with you or without you," and I said, "Oh yeah, for real." And we went our separate ways at that time, and this is before the AR CD was made. And so they went on to do AR, and I went to Keokaha, and I went to the Haile volleyball after party at um, Puhibe, and I saw Kekai Boys performing within that crowd. And I said, "Oh, I think we can do something with these guys." And so I ended up doing these, ended up producing the Kekai Boys first and second project as kind of one FU to Sudden Rush to say that, hey, I know what I'm capable of doing, and that I had played an intricate part of Sudden Rush's growth. And so um, it took a while too at Kekai Boys, and eventually they ended up, making their mark on the island music scene. And then we all kind of came back together, and then we were booking Kekai Boys and Sudden Rush together, and we went on a couple years of some shows and some tours and stuff. And then from there, um, Kekai Boys did their run, and then Sudden Rush continued.
I had ADHD.
Okay, Sudden Rush. I wanted to tell the story, so because it's kind of the behind the scenes of a lot of where things went happen, but all of it comes full circle with the way things are today is because of what we did back in the 90s that we didn't realize we had on plan for. We did not have a map. We did not have structure, but it evolved into what was supposed to happen, which is where we at right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we both have ADHD, I
Yeah.
guess. But anyway, that's
No,
what it was.
you were just planting the seed and watering, and maybe the fruit is just right now.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's what it is. You was ahead of your time. You went through all these ups and downs, getting buried. You know, one of my favorite sayings I heard somebody say is like, they tried to bury me, but they
Yeah.
didn't know I was on seed.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, that's
love
on my
that.
that's on my Instagram.
Yeah, I
That's
love
a
that.
Greek
I wonder if I saw
philosopher.
that from you.
You
Did you share
probably
it?
did because not too much people know that.
Yeah,
It's
okay,
a
I probably
Greek
saw it from you.
philosopher,
I
yeah,
probably saw it
or
from you.
German philosopher or
Yeah,
something, yeah.
yeah.
They tried to bury me, but they stomp on me, bury me, but they didn't realize I was at sea.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah,
So good.
good way to end.
Yeah. Well, great. Yeah, great messages of aloha and all of that. I'm sure you guys could just go on forever. You guys should just start your own podcast, the Sudden Rush podcast.
Once upon a time, we were supposed to do the rush hour.
Oh, Rush Hour right there. Yeah.
Who knows? We're getting older, so we're not traveling as much. Maybe that will happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just touching back on the So Juicy side of things. You had to make a change, and just FYI, the drinks are amazing. Are you still making food?
Yeah, yeah.
The
We're
food.
gonna
What
be
was it? The
opening.
Kalo burger? Was that my
Yeah,
favorite?
the Kalulu
Oh, the
burger.
Kalolu burger.
Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah.
I love that thing.
We're gonna.
As the swirl turns was
Yeah,
the one.
the
for-
swirly bowl is a
Oh,
bomb
that's
too.
that's the Walla
Yeah.
base, yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
So we're
yeah.
we're reopening a brick and mortar in Hilo
Oh,
right
awesome.
now, actually.
Where
Uh,
at? Where can we
in
find it?
downtown Hilo, so right across of Spencer's gym in that corner where the old pescatory was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we're over there
Oh,
on
it's like
Calvary
downtown
Street.
Hilo,
Yeah,
Hilo.
downtown Hilo again.
Nice.
We have a kiosk in Kona, and then we're expanding to to the continent actually.
What about Oahu?
Nothing in Oahu, but so what we did was we opened it up for licensees. So if anybody out there
Yeah,
is
like
looking,
invest.
yeah, if they're looking to run their own, that's our next step. But
Hmm.
There's
uh,
only one world juicing champion.
I
You
know.
can buy into here in Hawaii.
How did that happen? Being the world
so
juicing champion.
the company that throws that event,
Mm-hmm.
that juice convention and that juice competition, they're the manufacturers of the equipment that a lot of the juice companies use around the world. So they're almost 50 years, I think, in business, this company, and it's called Good Nature. Shout out to Good Nature. And they put out this email blast to all of the people that have their equipment that they were going to have the first ever world juicing competition in Miami, Florida. And I only caught wind of it like the last week before the deadline was. And so I ended up following them on Instagram. I ended up, they followed back and I said, oh, they're watching. And then I sent in our application. And so they were only going to choose 5 contestants from around the world. But I guess us throwing our hat in um, threw a monkey wrench in the plan and they invited 6. So there was myself from Hawaii, somebody from France, somebody from Canada, somebody from Mexico, and 2 from the continent. And so, yeah, we gathered in Miami, Florida, and that's a whole nother podcast, that
I,
event.
I
But
I love the story though. You told me
yeah,
before.
it's a fun story. I love talking
Uh,
about that story because we went there with intention.
can you give us like a short
So
version?
we went there with intention, and the plan was to spin the the topic or the theme of the contest was winter.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody, I knew everybody was going to do white winter and that kind of snow winter, but for us winter was surf in Hawaii, right? It's about big surf. And so what I did was I flipped the theme on antipodes. And what I did was I took 3 antipodes for the 3 categories that we had to do, and I tied in the fruits and veggies from one continent to us, and then to different Polynesian antipodes. And so I just did on different spin on it. But I went there knowing that, or trying to prove to, with Hawaii on my back, trying to prove to myself that when people came into our Hilo store and said, this is the best cold pressed juice I ever had, I needed to test it. And so I went there thinking, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And I had all the confidence. I said, I'm going to smash this. And I went over there, and all the other contestants was bartenders, like former bartenders. They had years of experience, and I'm only 18 months doing juicing. I got intimidated, and I went in there, but I still had on plan. So being Kanaka, I knew about intention, so I wore a bright Aloha shirt, I wore a bright hat. I wanted to stand out. And then when the company asked how much time do we need to prepare, I said I only need 30 minutes. 30 minutes, they said. Everybody asking for hour and a half, 2 hours. And so I knew that they were kind of, the other contestants was doing new things. Like they were trying to make fancy stuff. And I went in there with my jujitsu basics.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that I knew that I could do with like the back of my hand. And so I watched everybody's ano, and I watched how they was in the preparation. So a lot of them was frantic and they was rushing and they was trying to do this and they was all over the place. And so I didn't want to touch anybody, any of the inanimate objects that those kind of vibes was on. I picked one whole different section, and I went going there with my 90 or my Raycon earbuds. I played my 90s R&B, and I ended up juicing before everybody else so that our juice would sit in the reefer for a longer period of time so the flavors would fuse.
Mm-hmm.
And then I took Kuha'o's Sig Zane. I took some Sig Zane fabric. I did some pa'akai on some stuff, and I did one story and all of that. And then I was intimidated though. They had beautiful displays, beautiful presentations, and I just kept with my basics. And so I thought you needed to win one category in order to become the overall champion. So when they read the winners of the other 3 categories, I was defeated. I was like, oh my God, we came over here with people helping us Venmo us, and we're on standby. Me and Auntie was on standby, and we struggled to get there. And I was thinking, oh man, we didn't win anything. And we invested some money to get here to Miami, and um, I don't know, they love the story, they love the juice, and here we are 7 years later, and we're the only world juicing champions in the world, and we're hoping to have another convention soon, and that we can be a judge there and be a presenter there, and take more of the Hawaiian culture
Yeah.
to the convention.
Awesome. I love it. I
Yeah, it's
love
a
that
good story.
story. Yeah, it's a
Yeah, I
good
love that
story.
story.
So something like I imagine it as a movie, right?
Yeah, it is. It was fun
As
for us.
you know, it's like you think it's gonna go wrong, and you end up getting the overall
I tell
win.
everybody, what does BJ Penn and Max Holloway and Kwai-Chang Publico all have in common? What do we have in common? We are
You,
world champions. I don't take that title lightly, guys. Come on, man.
That's funny. I'm gonna put that in the trailer of
we
this
know.
episode.
You keep reminding
KITV
us.
never did
Yeah.
do a story on that, bro. We were juicing champions.
That's awesome. Well, mahalo for sharing that. I do want to touch on the topic of sovereignty before we get to the end of this podcast, because a part of Sudden Rush is rapping, sharing music about, the political environment here in Hawaii, and a lot of that is sovereignty. Right now, there's a huge push. I mean, there's always been, there's, been leaders, the Uncle Walter Riddy, Honani K. Trask, all of them. And I feel like Sudden Rush was just another voice in that ring to share these messages, and kind of like what you say, not change everybody's mind, but start making them think, know that these things are happening. We should be aware of these things, which is a goal of this podcast, is not to teach you anything of like how you're supposed to live your life. It's just sharing these stories, and you can do what you want with that information. So right now, I think, this is just my opinion, we're at a space where we're too much on the extremes of things. I see people who are just like total radical, like sovereignty. We're not America. We're Hawaiian. I'm not American. We're Hawaiians. We got to do it like this way. Just very stuck, like this way and no other way. And there's people who like, sovereignty is, those people are crazy. That's not even a realistic option. Like, what are they talking about? And then there's people in the middle. And like, I feel like I'm in the middle trying to bridge the gap. And like, and one thing that I liked, somebody commented about like the sovereignty, is that, because for me, realistically, I don't think like Hawaii being a sovereign nation is realistic at this point. Ideally, in a perfect world, that would be amazing. Would I want that? Yes. But I'm just being realistic here. But what somebody said was, it's not so much about just getting the sovereignty, but creating sovereign systems apart from being tried in their system, apart from having to rely on them for our food, for half of the things, that majority of the things we have here. So I like that perspective of the sovereign systems, creating sovereign systems. So yeah, I want to see like, what was the inspiration behind that? Where's your stance now? How much do you think it's changed?
I think that there is a duality there, at least a duality. You said that there's those in between. Um, so I am one side of the spectrum, yeah, a hardcore sovereign, yeah. At the same time, I get arrested again. I am tried by their laws in their courts, right? Um, so yeah, like it or not, there is a duality. I think that sovereign is first a state of mind and understanding. Yeah, it's an understanding of the injustices that have been committed here, um, how they affect us today. Um, it's understanding the difference between ceded land and crown land. Yeah, state of mind. Um, yeah, but like it or not, the reality is that there is a duality. Yeah, so um, you get the bumpies. Yeah, but then we get the Josh Green too. Yeah, so yeah, I think it has to start with us as individuals. I think it starts with um, digging deep, digging deeper into our culture, not just understanding of our culture, but of ourselves as well. I think that once, um, yeah, once you do that journey, yeah, once you start on that journey, you become hungry for more information for sure, um, and then having information, I'm sure, becomes the spark that demands change, yeah, or at least desires change,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that we're seeing, a lot of that taking place today, like I said, with a lot of our generation, all of these people looking to take political offices. Yeah, I don't think that these are political people. I think that they just see what's happening in government today and desire to have um, some of those laws shaped in ways that benefit our people and our movement. Yeah.
Yeah.
So sovereignty, yeah, for me, um, has to start with the individual. It has to start with our understanding, and our way of thinking.
Do you think it's possible for Hawaii to become a sovereign nation?
Um, I don't think that the U.S. can afford to lose Hawaii as a state. I do believe that there is a way. I believe that anything is
Mm-hmm.
possible. I don't believe that it's something that we see in our lifetime. Yeah.
I'll touch on that. So I'm very much pro sovereign, pro self determination. But I also know now versus 30 years ago when we started and we were um, definitely on the Iolani Palace doorstep and UAH and border regions and even with TMT and the Mauna. Um, I am at a point where I accept being a bricklayer, that I feel like I am pro sovereign, pro self determination, and if it doesn't happen in my lifetime, I for sure gave my Kiki the foundation to move towards it, as did Haunani, K Trask, um, you know, um, the Osorios, Uncle John, Uncle Walter, Uncle Bumpy. They,
Skippy.
yeah, yeah. So they all, Uncle Skippy, yeah, for sure. Like they all, when lay one certain foundation that we would jump on, and so that's what it is. And um, there are a lot of nations that have gotten their sovereignty, and some took X amount of years, and so the fact that there are more Hawaiian language speaking, more Hawaiian practitioners, is a step towards that. I do believe that we have to have one huli where people come back home though, you know, go and do what they gotta do and maybe lay their foundation outside so that they can financially set up their kids so their kids can come back, right? And then they can join the movement and come back and huli the system. But specifically, like Brenton Awa, I was telling him, like
Such a big fan.
Brenton is like that guy standing in that gap. Of all the people out there that are in a seat, not anybody that's vying for the seat, right? Like Kaloa and Briani and
Yeah, go support them if you're in Hilo.
yeah, and
Vote
all
Kaloa Robinson. Vote
well,
Briani Kobayashi.
all of them Kool-Aid, like all of them,
Kule, yes.
everybody that's in the push right now. But Brenton is in there, right? Brother is hammering. He is fearless.
I'm like fearless Hawaiian, yeah, but
Yeah,
when I say I am such a big fan.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
such an inspiration.
yeah. Hey, he's intelligent. He's straightforward. I don't know him personally, but Makana, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
he seems genuine. He handsome, right?
So
He
Brenton,
athletic.
Brenton left,
The news.
right,
Yeah,
because he didn't believe in the
he's forced
narrative
out,
that was being pushed.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah. I
both are
think
Yeah,
true.
there's
Mm.
there has to be a great deal of respect for someone who has that kind of conviction. Yeah. And then taking into consideration some of the things that he's been spearheading since, yeah. One of the things in particular that I really liked was the no outside sales. Yeah. So talking about
Yeah.
Hawaiians coming back home, I think that they left for a reason, and that reason hasn't changed. It's not getting any better. I think that um, stuff like that is all the more reason that we need more of our people taking political office. I do believe that that's where the fight is going. Yeah. So for generations now, we go take a stand. Yeah, like we did on the Ala um up Mauna Kea. But I do think that the same way people are groomed to take different positions of political power, yeah, different offices. I think that we um now are raising our kids, yeah, like you say, like laying the bricks, yeah, laying the foundation for these for the next generation to fight the good fight, um not in these historical places, but in their venues, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
in their courtrooms, according to their laws. I do believe that the kind, um, I'd like to think that there is a happy median. If you look at American Samoa, yeah, and the way that they're governed, um, for the people by the people, I think that we need, um, whether we are to separate ourselves from the United States or not, I do believe that the kind we need to have some of that here at home. Yeah. Um, Going back to Brent and Awa, I think that the kind a little off subject, but that's to me is a huge problem. Is the way that we're treating land here in Hawaii? Yeah, it's your vacation marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
The way it's treated, you know. Unfortunately, the people who live here are not the ones with the money to take those vacations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of what's happening with real estate here, which is why when they shut that bill down, it was a huge disappointment to me because that was the kind, a no brainer. Yeah.
You would think so. You would think
The
so, right?
only people who could shoot down something like that are those who stand to benefit from it. Um, there are companies, Redfin, um, Zillow. Is it Zillow?
Zillow,
Yeah.
the
So
renting one.
these companies come into an area, yeah, and they're going to start buying up houses, yeah, in that area, and they're going to buy at market value, right? And they're going to secure a bunch of properties in that area, and then they're going to start buying above market value in the same area, effectively increasing the value of everything they already own. That's market manipulation.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's not a coincidence. Like these are all things that are
No,
But
actually
yeah.
happening.
but all of this is
Yeah.
surface though, right? Because if you think about it, this is nothing new. It's just new in our mind right
It's
now.
new as in we're just getting this
Yeah,
information now.
right. But this set of rules and this system was created for us to not succeed, right?
Mm-hmm.
The black
Absolutely.
and brown and the poor and that's what the system was. So if you think about it, this is nothing that Haunani K Trask wasn't talking about back then. So if we really like huli the system and really like get into the depth and the deepness of where all these pilikias are, it's way way down, right? So what we seeing in the housing market and in the homelessness and in the all of that kind of stuff is all surface already. It's already come to the surface, but the corruption is all the way down
And
deep
it's been
down, right?
generation. We
It's
talk
been
about generational
right.
trauma, generational corruption. Let's talk about
Generational,
that.
yeah,
Who's
generational
gonna break that
corruption,
cycle?
right? So but if you think about it now as the solution, you look at Brenton. Okay, Brenton is where he is. Does he speak Hawaiian language? I don't think so, right? Did he come from a Hawaiian immersion school? I don't think so. But he's for sure putting one example on Instagram that somebody at Navahi is looking at, like maybe it's Kamaka or Makana guy's kids, right? Looking at like, okay, Brenton is doing this and he's getting us here. They coming up, they gonna go law school, they gonna go through their thing speaking Hawaiian language, they gonna go and then they gonna come, right? So that's what we have to realize is our kuleana in the end, is to make sure we lay one solid
Mm-hmm.
foundation for those that come after us to stand on. And so I I don't know if it'll happen in our lifetime. Um, but I do know from 30 years ago when we started to 30 years now, it has grown in that direction. So if we can figure out one way to, like we are talking about it coming on the plane, is a lot of the politicians, or politicians that get into politics, or people that get into politics go with good intentions until they get in there and realize how corrupt and pilau and even the stuff that is unspoken. The unspoken stuff is the most dangerous stuff, right? Because you like Trump, you can deal with Trump if he just draws the line in the sand and say, "You stand over there, I stand over there. We can scrap." But it's the guys that's standing next to you that say, "Hey, right." That's the guy you got to worry about, right? That's the corruption. And so the that unspoken stuff is the one. And I think that everybody, every person that goes into it, or a lot of people that go into politics, go in with an intention and a plan. But like Mike Tyson said, you go into the fight and you get punched in the face.
Mhm.
You don't know, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. They go into the House and the seat and the Senate and the council thinking, oh, I'm gonna help kill, I'm gonna help Paneva, I'm gonna, do this and Hilo and Kona and then
You guys watch House of Cards?
No,
I
I
know,
know.
I
I know.
know.
I know what that is, though.
That's what it is, though. Huh?
Hmm.
Yeah. So I mean that shows don't exist because it's not, it wasn't a figment of that producer's
Really,
imagination.
like you say, you come in with good intentions, but politics is you come in and you're going basically just play your role. You're going to shut the fuck up. And
Do as you told.
That's what
yeah,
they're trying to do with Brenton, and that's what he's proving that
Right. So that's why it's
he's
great to
showing
see
us. Yeah.
all the curveball guys coming in, right? Because once you can build the soldiers up, then you can huli the
Yeah.
system.
And that's what it is at the end of the day, is representation,
Yeah.
is inspiring.
Yeah.
That's the goal of this podcast. That's the goal of us as a community, is to
Yeah.
inspire the next generation to have, Kula Kaya Puni
Yeah.
kids who are mixed like me.
Well, so when you went, without saying anything good or bad, but did you know the difference now, looking back at it, from your teachings and the way you were taught in immersion versus when you went to public school? Do you notice that? Because I love how immersion is, right?
Hmm.
The hands-on, the 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 in-depth,
Yeah. Intention
right?
is
The intention.
I am intentional because of my upbringing
Yeah.
over there.
So you see that breed of kids is different.
I totally agree. I
It's
think a
different and
lot
not
of.
special. And I told the Hamana that this class. I said, hey, whenever you guys go in Pukukula, don't walk around thinking you better, but you special.
Hmm.
For sure you're special. And
Yeah.
remember that. So now all these graduates, right? From 100 to 500, 500 to 5,000, 5,000 to 50,000. We're gonna
Yeah.
lead a system. Yeah.
That's why I had to leave my senior year, because if I graduated, I thought I would have thought I was better than everyone. So that's why I left. Nah. Um, I don't. I everything that I do, everything like
How
my
much?
upbringing.
how many years did you have left
Oh, just
One.
when
one.
you
I
left?
just left
Yeah,
my senior year.
just
Put
1
on a
year.
leo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, from Punana from
wow.
all the way to senior year, and it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Even Kawaka Lewis,
Yeah.
he left senior year or
To
junior,
Hilo, yeah.
senior year, I think too.
Yeah.
But it's just, even though I didn't see it at the time, I am the way I am because of that.
Yeah.
Because you learn from your parents, you learn from your environment, you learn from your coaches. But as much as I hated it, it was
You
ingrained into
realize,
me.
yeah, engraved, yeah.
And to the littlest things,
Yeah.
like just not stepping over somebody's feet when
Yeah.
they were sitting like this, because Kumuha'a said if you do that, you take their mana.
You would have loved Pukakula because this year, because Hiapo had his Hiapo, right?
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, Keano, and then Kumuha'a had her Hiapo, right? Kauluvena.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of us, a lot of that Kumu and us Makuas, we had same age Kiki,
Mm-hmm.
and it was unbelievable to watch Hiapo give his speech and his mana'o to his Hiapo, but and her classmates.
That's cool.
It was, yeah, chicken skin is the
Yeah,
word. Yeah.
yeah. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of the lessons I've learned. The standing in the pico for hours, but it seemed like hours.
Right, right.
Standing in the sun,
Right.
doing all the hands-on thing, working in the mall, all the things I just didn't want to do.
But now
But
you know,
totally, it made me who I am today,
Mike.
and like I am a more intentional, conscious, proud, confident Hawaiian human, just a person in general, because of my upbringing at Punana Leo, Kaumekakael, and Navio Kalaniupu.
So
I've learned nothing from Kaiser. I
go and
graduated there.
support all
You know,
Hawaiian immersion,
I don't
Mike.
claim Kaiser Hawaii Kai. I claim Hilo. I say I graduated from Kaiser because that's where I finished my schooling. But I went there just to play sports. I love that I got to go to like
What sport?
a normal school of soccer and
Soccer.
football.
Mm.
I moved there for football. I was actually gonna come back for soccer, so it was only supposed to be just for football season. And then I liked it there, so I ended up staying. Um, but yeah, just the connections that you build over there.
It's unbelievable the intention behind the school from when you he pepe
Everything
to
have
now
a
when
meaning.
yeah,
Everything has a
yeah,
meaning. Like from going into class, from sitting down
yeah.
to speaking, the way you speak,
And you
the way
remember
you
all the
greet,
grumbling you did throughout the
everything.
time, but then
Everything.
you
I
realize
I
after.
remember. I'm sure the teachers do too.
Yeah.
I was kolohe. I was kolohe in the sense where I didn't want to listen. Um, because I was good grades. I was a good student, but I felt like I was a little bit different, and I didn't really want that. So I would not pay attention, and sometimes like I didn't want a hula. I thought that was like weird, and you grow up, it's like, oh, hula, that's for mahus. Um, that's not the reason that like I didn't want to get super into hula, but I was just more into breakdancing,
Oh, but then you see
you know?
Kuhao. Oh, he's bad. You see
Exactly.
him dance
And
hula.
you see these
He's
guys,
bad.
you see a Mary Monarch, they get all the ladies. So I don't
Oh.
know why guys growing up, if you think, oh, hula's mahu, brah. If you're insecure, that's how you're gonna get the chicks. If you just want to think of it like that,
I don't know. Shout out to Kuhao.
Yeah, shout out to Kuha'o. But yeah, I thought of things differently when I was growing up, and I just didn't appreciate it. Same with parents, I didn't appreciate my parents until I was in college. Having to like come home for summer breaks, and they'll be like, "Hey, come on, can you pick up Cool from school? Can you take him paddling?" Oh, do I have to do that? Like I just like go hang out with my friends, go to the river.
That's the
But
young
I'm
mentality.
like, okay, wait, I just had to step back and think. I'm complaining that I have to pick my brother up from school, not wake up in the morning, take him to school and make him breakfast, whatever, at like 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning. I just got to pick him up and take him to practice. That's all I have to do. And my mom, mother of 5 children, went back to school and got her RN license when she already had 5 children. Probably had to like stay up past midnight studying, wake up in the morning, cook us food, take us to school, pick us up. Well, I mean, we had a lot of help, like you, Pua, Pua's
Yeah, yeah,
mom.
yeah.
They would take us to town, buy us McDonald's, whatever, and take us practice. And I had my friends' families take me home, whatever. But she had to do all of that for 5 kids, and
And that's just the surface.
and that's just a surface.
Right.
And be a wife,
Yeah.
a coworker, she's still
Yeah.
working, like, and all I had to do was pick up my brother, take him to paddling practice.
See, that's the
Gratitude,
maturity.
eh?
Yeah, the maturity.
Yeah, attitude of gratitude.
Gratitude.
So now,
Ho mai kai.
yeah, po mai kai.
Po
Po mai kai
kai.
is more of a blessing. Ho mai kai is to like bless something, but like we are very blessed. Like
Oh,
Po
mai
gives
kai.
it action,
There
yeah?
yeah,
you
yeah,
go.
yeah. Ho mai kai, ho po mai kai.
Ke
Yeah.
au ni wau.
Hey, mai kai, ho mo. Yeah, so I think the coolest thing about this life is how much we can learn, and growing up as an adult, getting past like your mid 20s, just maturing and growing into yourself and really finding in your identity. I just feel like every year I think I'm the perfect being. I just know everything. I just learn more and more that I don't know things,
Well,
and that there's so much more to go.
if you haven't heard it before or enough, just know that as your Anakalas and Anakas, that we're proud of you and what you're doing and where you've gone, and the way you are inspiring, and the way that you, for sure, from the 50K,
Hmm.
all of that to where you are now. What a ride,
Hmm.
and excited to watch you go
Yeah.
further. So
I think now I take a lot more pride in coming from where I came from.
yeah, good.
Hilo, Kulakaya Puni, divorced parents, like everything, just add in all the things that, people use as excuses to not make it in life, you
Because
know?
Well,
you
they
grew
say
up.
the kind, eh? The villain and the hero have
They
the
get the
same
same
background,
exactly.
eh?
It's just
Yeah,
how you
yeah,
respond to those
yeah.
things.
You
Because
guys
there's
watch too much Instagram. Right?
it's just, yeah, I think because there's people that I grew up with, same age, similar upbringing, we're going on different
Right.
paths. I've seen a lot of people that I've
Right.
grown up with get into drugs, get into drinking, get into other things, still in Hilo. It's totally different path, and I'm like, I don't know how the way how I am the way I am. I don't know. Like even from me and my siblings, I don't know how what happened in life. We had the same upbringing, but
Well, if
for
you look at
some reason,
his parents are still together, right? So
yeah,
my parents split up. His parents are more stable than my parents. Um, both as their relationship and as their finances and stuff. But um, he chose a real different path than I did, and so you just
yeah,
you
you
never
can't
know.
control the
Yeah,
wind. You just can,
yeah, yeah.
you can't change. Yeah, you can't. Was
I
it
know what you're trying to
steer the
say.
wind? You just
Yeah,
gotta control the boat or
yeah,
steer the
yeah, yeah,
va'a.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So with all that, I just feel like because of where I came from and where I am now, I do find it to be a big privilege to be doing what I'm doing, and it is a big kuleana to represent in a certain way, not just for Hawaiians, but for Hawaiian language speakers, not just for people from Hilo, but for Hawaii, not just for college graduates, for Peace Corps volunteers. There's
Right,
so many things that I represent that I want to show and inspire people that you can do it as well.
Cherry.
And this is just a platform that we can do it. And like the goal is, not to be famous, not to make money or whatever. For me, it's for others. The bigger this platform get, the bigger an audience my guests have. The more money this my businesses make, the more I'm able to provide for my family, my siblings, my partner, my family,
Right,
retire them.
right.
So like
Listen,
I totally like
yeah,
empathize with
yeah,
everything you're saying, and I know now as an adult I like how I appreciate my parents and I appreciate the struggles that they went to. I understand the struggles that you had to go through as an
yeah.
entrepreneur, and I have a deeper appreciation of you
I
and
tell
all
everybody
the
we're
Anakids
battle
and
tested,
Anakalas.
battle tested
Totally,
for sure.
yeah,
So, the saying in our holiday this year is, "We don't know how we're gonna do them, but we're gonna figure them out."
yeah.
Yeah,
That's fun. I love
yeah,
doing that. I
yeah,
love figuring things out.
yeah.
Today's
It's awesome.
problems are small compared to the life we've already lived.
Totally, I love that. So I do want to know with all the things that you've been through and the things you've accomplished, and there's still more to accomplish. But at this point, what are you two most proud of?
Mm.
My kids for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All four of them. They are two different sets, but I really do love watching them grow up, and I am content to pass the torch. I tell them all the time that you're gonna appreciate me when I turn into dirt, because I, laid a blueprint of what to do and what not to do, and um, I for sure am very proud of them, and yeah, and I'm also proud of myself. I'm
Mm-hmm.
proud of myself for still standing. A lot of the things that I've gone through and are going through and probably will go through would have broke the mere man, would have gone down a road or a cliff. We've gone down a bad road or off a cliff and still standing. So proud of that for sure.
Awesome. I'm proud of that too. Proud of that for you.
Mahalo.
I love how as an adult you can be proud of older people. We
Well,
always think of
hey,
being proud of somebody younger, but
but
I'm proud of
that I
that.
accept that.
Yeah.
I accept that. So I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
I think for me, if I'm proud of anything, uh, would be the fact that I get to live my life the way that I do today,
Mm-hmm.
considering the way I've lived my life. Yeah, to not a lot of people go where I've been and get to live the way that I live today. So, um, I guess there's a sense of pride there, but for sure something that I'm definitely more thankful for than prideful of.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, glad. Yeah. I like to ask, what are you proud of? What are you grateful for? There's a lot of overlap with that. I think it's really cool with your story is how if you think about we listened to the beginning of this podcast and now you can kind of get a true understanding of somebody. And for you at the core, all you ever wanted was freedom. That's all you ever wanted from an early age, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And would you say you have it now?
Still today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
there's still always more to go, but
well, I think as an adult, you have the freedom to wake up when you're ready.
hmm
Yeah. To go travel. Yeah. To go. Yeah.
You live on your terms nowadays.
I do. I
yes,
do.
same
Yeah.
same with me. And I'm lucky I have that at 30 years old.
I
I've
gotta
never had a 9 to 5 job.
I gotta say, being an entrepreneur, even though the struggles are up and down and way down, way down, and sometimes can be way high. Um, I was fortunate to be there for my kids.
hmm
All the practices, all the games, all the rehearsals, all the you know the award ceremonies, the doctor visits and stuff like that. I was able to call my own shots. I never really had to ask anybody to
hmm
see if I can,
Request
yeah,
PTO.
yeah. Majority of my adult life, I've been an entrepreneur. So yeah, I'm stoked. I didn't miss when Auntie was Hawaii. I went them all,
hmm
and I was fortunate. The first couple of years of both of the smaller kids, I was able to stay home with them and really absorb them. And with the bigger kids, I tried my best. Um, gave them a blueprint of what not to do and what to do. But yeah, I'm stoked that I was able to be there for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't expect at 17 years old. If you used to tell me I'll be a husband and father, that was not part of the plan. Uh,
You make the best out of your
yeah,
situation, right? Oh, you can't change the wind. You can only adjust the sails.
right.
There you go.
That's the one.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Okay, what is something you wish people knew about you that they don't?
Just in post one. Mike Tyson was asked this question recently. I just used it as um, the voiceover,
Oh, I
and
think
they
I might have
asked
saw
him
that.
if there was something he wished people understood about him, and he said nothing. And the guy said nothing. Nope, fuck you. That's Mike Tyson. But yeah, shit out of kind. For me,
The less you know about me, the better.
yeah, I could care less what anybody the kind. I mean, I do care. I grew up feeling like I don't give a shit what anybody thinks about me, how I live my life. Um, and there was a time where I really lived that. Um, I think I'm at a point in my life now where I really do care, and I've cared for a really long time what people think about me. I think that that's something that I worked long and hard for because of the way that I used to live. Yeah, I felt like there was a point where the perceived value of my character couldn't have been much. Yeah, so um, I feel like the perceived value of my character today is very different. I think that people understand the value that I bring to any table. Um, at the same time, yeah, I feel like the kind because I've lived like that for so long because I at some point started caring. Yeah, changed the way that I live, changed the way that I think, changed the way that I interact with other people. Um, I'd like to think that I've been um, doing good long enough now where, yeah, shit, it doesn't matter. If you feel something the kind, if you get some feelings about who I am, it's probably more likely tied to who I used to be. Yeah. So, yeah, what people think about me today, I could care less.
F you.
I live the kind. Yeah. I live my life for my very small circle. Yeah.
Awesome.
As long as those people are happy, shit, I'm happy. I got nothing to prove to anyone outside
Solid.
of that.
I
Right
think
on.
jumping on that, I'm not who I used to be either. I think people expect that I was an extrovert and a go getter and a somebody who wants the light, I
Mhm.
guess. But I'm not. I try my best to um, be more in the shadows. I have a love hate relationship with social media. I wish I didn't have to do it. I for sure don't share as much as I'm sure a lot of us don't share all the things that happen, good and bad, on social media. But I do. I'm not that person anymore. That like, oh, you like MC at a party, like, you wanna, you know, help us do this and stuff, and it's just not me. Um, I think the pandemic was awesome for my ohana. I love the bubble. I love the small. I love the small routine that we had. It felt safe. The world is such a crazy place that I just love being on the homestead. Just love being in that quiet time, and so um, I'm sorry if I don't live up to any expectations too that anybody has of who I was, or what they expect from me. But it's just not me anymore, and I'm slowly getting ready to fade off into the sunset, and just me and Anake, we talk about sitting on the lanai. Uh, she's drinking a mimosa. I'm on the zero turn riding lawnmower, and um, maybe Pakalolo is on the, coming up after that. I don't know, but
Some edibles.
some edibles,
Edibles, yeah.
Smoke.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, but that's just what I think the goal is, and hopefully we get closer to that. Yeah,
Awesome. Well, I'm excited for that part of the journey, and I
yeah.
really hope you get there sooner rather than later.
Mahalo. No?
Yeah. Is there anything you want to share? Any question that you wish wish I asked on this podcast? I don't ask that question too much, but I know there's so much that we could go over that I want to make sure that we're
I just
we're
think,
juicing everything out of
well,
this episode.
I think that I don't know where your platform is going to go, but
Everywhere. Everywhere.
I would like to have a to be continued.
Yeah.
I would like to have a to be continued one day, and a part two, and see if what we talked about comes full circle, or where
Hmm.
it ends,
Yeah.
or what. Yeah.
I
So
do. I do have um plans for that in the future. I try not to get repeat
yeah,
guests,
yeah,
but once in a while if it makes sense I will, but I do think about having people on in a bigger time span, like not just a year from now, but
yeah,
like 5 years
yeah.
from now, just like to see.
Do love in
Yeah.
Vegas, and I
I
don't like
think I
coming
think
to shows
that's
up here though, but you know,
when we were young, we used to
yeah,
do Vegas very different. Was a lot of gambling and a lot of clubs. Yeah, I
what kind of
mean,
clubs?
shit, we used to club to the kind. Walk out, open door, and
Yeah,
whoa, freaking daytime.
yeah.
You know, different though now. I get one good wahine at home.
Hmm.
And going back to happiness is having someone to share it with. I feel like the last several years, I've really been enjoying my trips to Vegas, but we've been doing it different. I go and I want her to have a good time, so we go do a lot of what she wants to do, and turns out that I really enjoy doing those things too,
I like going
Awesome.
to the
you know.
shows. That for
That
Yeah,
part of you just needed to be
yeah.
awakened.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Awesome. Okay, favorite local snack.
Ooh.
Favorite local snack. Shoot.
Snack is not necessarily dessert. Yeah, just a
No, it can
kind.
be whatever. Anything can be a snack. Let's
First
make
thing,
make that clear.
first thing came to mind. That's why I was Alcoholics. Uh, Lomi Yo. Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, you just
Well,
did
I've,
them, yeah.
I've been snacking that for. I just finished one container yesterday. Opened a second container, so he was here Saturday. Saturday was that?
Yeah, yeah, you did. Yeah.
Mm.
So today is Wednesday. So one container down. I started the second container last night, but yeah, shit. Between meals, that's been a kind.
I like fried
That's a
kole.
good one.
Yeah.
Fried kole.
Fried kole all day. Oh,
Do you fish?
I do not
Oh,
fish.
okay, you just get
Yeah.
them from somebody.
I try my best to barter as much as I can
Oh,
when I see one
nice.
cousin or friend post them on
Yeah, yeah.
social
Trade
media.
some juice.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
Fish for me is done underwater,
yeah.
not like that.
But that's how you
Diving.
catch kole. You dive, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay, favorite way to recharge.
Oh,
mm, I like cutting the grass. I really,
That's a
really,
dad thing.
yeah,
Uncle Kaloa loves doing that.
I love cutting the grass. I can have time to think. I try my best to stop. I put them on my phone so I don't forget, but I can do that for hours.
You need a bigger yard then.
I have a very big yard, so
Wait, you
um,
guys still in the same? You're not in the same place.
we are moving to the farm soon.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, not at the same.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
not at the same. Yeah,
Um. Oh yeah, yeah. Because I think
not
Treasure guys, they up in like
they
H
no, yeah, they
HPP.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah. They have a big yard too,
Okay.
but ours is bigger, and I cannot wait to
Okay.
be cutting the yard once a week.
Awesome.
Yeah,
For me, I think the recharge comes from disconnecting.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Disconnect to reconnect.
life
That's what it's
is
about.
draining.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all of its tasks. I think, um, even social media. Yeah, like I said, the love hate relationship. I'd be absolutely happy to turn them off and not log in again. I go through periods every once in a
Mm-hmm.
while where I just purge. Yeah, I'll take the app and move it somewhere else on my phone because I autopilot my way into Instagram
Mm-hmm.
sometimes where I know, okay, I'm taking a break, but then, oh shit, I'm scrolling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It
Gotta
happens. It
turn them off.
happens.
But yeah, I think some time to disconnect and get back to the important things in life.
Definitely. Well, I just got a whole image when you said like, because I asked how you recharge, but you said disconnect, and it's weird how all the technology stuff you gotta connect them
yeah,
to charge,
connect.
but
Yeah,
for humans, you gotta disconnect.
disconnect. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool thing to think about. Okay, and last one, favorite thing about each other.
Favorite thing about each other.
Maybe I have an answer when you come to our podcast.
Wow.
Nah.
Let me think. What is might be the hardest
Favorite
one?
thing about this guy would have to be the fact that he's put up with me for this long.
Patient.
I'll give him credit for that.
I think that for me, I kind of have the same, like when I used to go prawning with my dad used to stand up at the pond and he would let me and my brother go, and my brother's inside the pond. I don't know if he was already sick at the time, but towards the end of his life, I remember it very vividly, being in one pond and looking up, and I would see my dad at the top, and we would be diving for prawns. And I always felt like, shucks, he got my back, like And I think I feel the same way. I feel like if I walk into one room, one situation, or into anything, if I know I walk in with him, I feel like, oh, he got my back.
Mm,
For better, for worse, whether I right or wrong, we're gonna swing and he got my back, and not necessarily just physically, but just in general, right, in the fight. So I think I appreciate that.
awesome.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Look at us, men just being vulnerable. All right, well,
Cue the crying.
yeah. That's all we have for today. Mahalo so much for talking stories, coming all the way from Hilo. Just for this, I really appreciate it. I appreciate everything the both of you have done, not only for your own lives, but for this community, for the Lahui, for Hawaii, for music, for business, everything. I'm a big fan of the both of you, and this is cool. I think this is the first podcast that I've done with somebody that I've have a long history with, like an uncle. You know, I've done it with people I've known, but it makes me think like, man, because you don't really have conversations with your parents, your
Yeah,
aunties and
yeah,
uncles in depth,
yeah.
unless some people maybe they do that. They got a really close relationship. I don't. So it's just making me think like, man, it would be cool to have my dad on and ask why he put us in, Kula Kaipuni. It
Yeah.
would be cool to talk with Ana Kalakavika and Ana Kaipuala.
Yeah.
It'd be cool
Already.
to like talk with. I'm trying to get Kamana and Pila on.
Nice.
I haven't texted them yet, but
That would be a great episode.
Yeah.
yeah, kind of hesitant. I'm just like,
Yeah. Yeah. You better
that's
be
like,
on your
I don't get
PPP.
starstruck. I don't
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
nervous for like people with millions of followers, but talking to a kumu hiapo or like
Yeah.
a
Pressure.
your principal kumu kamna is
Yeah.
the principal of my old school, like, yeah. And I think about it too because the episode would be in English. We wouldn't do subtitles for a 2 hour long episode. That's
Right.
just crazy.
Right.
That's like a movie.
Right. Do it though.
But to do it in English, I'm like,
Yeah.
I've never spoken English with her. Like, that'd be so weird.
Right?
But
Wow.
yeah, it'll happen. It'll happen. I'm pretty sure they'll say yes.
Cool.
It's just about scheduling. But anyways, mahalo
Yep.
to you both. Is there
Oh,
anything
yeah,
you want to
right.
share with the audience before we wrap up? If not, tell us where we can find you.
On social media.
Yeah. Find us on IG at Southern Rush Nation.
Yeah. You can find us on Southern Rush Nation, So Juicy Hawai'i, and all that junk stuff. But we there, and we try and touch base when we can, and be gentle with us, and be gentle to yourselves, and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mahalo, Kamat.
Yeah, right on. Mahalo, Shane and Uncle Kwai, for joining us on the Keep It Aloha podcast. Spread love, be kind to one another, and mahalo for listening to us today. We have new episodes every Thursday, so make sure you follow us and leave a review. I'm your host, Kamaka, and remember to always keep it aloha.